Then we'll be off to the Emirates for Arsenal versus Manchester United. That's where we find correspondent John Murray for one of the big ones, John.
You're absolutely right, Steve. It is warm here. It's actually warmer than it was in Brighton yesterday. So I have to say, even though it's a 4:30 kickoff, I think we have to consider that the temperature will be a factor.
Any words on a drinks break? Or?
Well, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. But it is hot.
If we might see a debut for Amrabat that Manchester United have signed. Now, in the heat of Qatar, he ran 50 miles in the tournament, more than anybody else. I don't know if we'll see him in the starting 11, but we're certainly going to see a few new faces.
Well, I mean, I've been told that he won't be. That's what I've been told today. But he will very much be a part of the plans. As is very clear from Erik ten Hag knowing him and bringing him in. So I think Manchester United fans can look forward to seeing him. But from what I've been told today, he won't be involved. But the one I'm interested to see if he is involved is Rasmus Højlund.
Yes.
Whether he's going to be involved today. And this is sort of, because it was such a big signing for Manchester United to bring this young man in with the expectation of scoring goals. Only 20 years old, but another young player of great promise. But obviously has had this back injury, so therefore has been out of the limelight for us. But I imagine for him, the pressure is growing all of the time because of the fact that it's been an issue with Manchester United scoring goals from the centre-forward position. They
desperately need the kind of boost that a new signing scoring on their debut could create.
Yeah, but over the years, quite a number of players have come to Manchester United as a centre-forward with a big or growing reputation, and to come into this club, and I do genuinely wonder whether it's been the best for him to have had to sit and watch and take it all in, because you can't, in the world in which we live, and I think it's probably been the case to a certain extent or another forever, whoever has been signed for Manchester United, you cannot avoid that pressure and expectation that you will get from the millions and millions of supporters of this club, not only in this country but all around the world. And that's where the mentality comes in. And I remind you again, he is only 20 years old.
Sort of tells the story of these two teams at the minute, doesn't it? There are questions about Manchester United, and lots of them, but we know exactly what Arsenal are going to do, and we almost know exactly who's going to do it.
Kind of, although Thomas Partey's got a groin injury, so the feeling is that he's going to be out for a few weeks now. So that's obviously going to alter the way that Mikel Arteta's been approaching things this season. I think it's a little bit like the game I was at yesterday, the Brighton-Newcastle match, in that I'm not sure whether we're going to see a performance from one team, both teams, neither team. And even at this early stage of the season, it does feel it's really important for both of them, if they can, whoever it is, to come out with a victory.
We'll let you get back into the aircon, John. Stay hydrated, won't you?
Don't like air conditioning, Steve. I think I've told you that before.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Don't trust that.
Plays havoc with the voice. All right, well, just stay hydrated, won't you?
I will.
Okay, good to know.
That. Thank you.
That's our correspondent, John Murray. He'll be with Matt Upson for full commentary of Arsenal versus Manchester United at 4:30. Right, less than half an hour to go until the final full commentary of this afternoon on Premier League Sunday. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Correspondent John Murray has the teams.
Yes, thank you, Steve. I'll run you through the sides in full. First of all, Arsenal with Ramsdale in goal. Then a very familiar back four back together. Ben White at right back. Gabriel's back in the team alongside William Saliba, and Zinchenko comes in at left back. Then in midfield, as you were, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz is in there again, and then the front line of Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli. So Nketiah, named in the England squad this week, comes back in. There was a little bit of a doubt over him with a knee injury, but he has scored in Arsenal's 2 home games so far this season. So that's confirmation that Thomas Partey is absent. He's picked up a groin injury in training. I'm sure Mikel Arteta will talk more about that later. And Kivior drops to the bench. So 3 changes for Arsenal, but just the 1 change for Manchester United, and that is Lindelof coming in at the back alongside Martinez in the absence of the injured Varane. So Wan-Bissaka and Dalot are the 2 full-backs in front of Onana, the goalkeeper. Then in midfield it's Casemiro with Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen again, and then Anthony on the right, Marcus Rashford on the left, and Anthony Martial through the middle. As we discussed earlier, Sofyan Amrabat is not yet able to be involved, so he's not in the team or on the bench for this match. But recent arrivals this week: Reguilon, Johnny Evans and goalkeeper Bayan Dia are all substitutes, as is Harry Maguire, and there's no Jadon Sancho, incidentally, not involved at all for Manchester United today. We're trying to find out why that is.
OK, we've got the former England defender Matt Upson alongside John for commentary. Afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Hello, I'm hoping you will also have a team sheet in front of you, because John Murray was telling us he's in danger of overheating, so you might have to fan him during the game today.
Yeah, he was looking a little bit warm when I arrived earlier in the media centre, but normally so ice cold, Steve. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He is Mr. Chill.
But that was very much the tone of the day today. Everyone who walked in from outside had a glow to them, even former athletes.
I did have a good 25-minute hike, Steve, from the car, and I wish I'd parked a bit closer because it was hot, very hot, and it looks like that now. Actually, the players, half the pitch is shaded, and I assume that will get a lot better as the game goes on, but it is a warm afternoon here.
Let's talk a bit about football, eh? Eddie Nketiah, England striker, Matt, does he deserve that?
I think that's an interesting question, whether he deserves it. Well, Gareth Southgate clearly feels he does, and he feels that he's the type of player that can maybe liven things up in that department, put a bit of pressure on other players that are being selected, that this will change and I can rotate my opinion, maybe just keep a couple of other players on their toes. I think it's interesting when you get selected and you haven't been a regular in your team, but you can say that about a lot of the England squad, can't you? So the one thing I do know about him is that he can be impactful, and from what I hear about him as a character, Steve, is that he's always ready. Whenever he has the opportunity here for Arsenal, this lad is ready. He's fit, he trains properly, he's got a great attitude in training, and I think that's the type of thing that makes a really good squad player for England in this situation, that you have to be ready to take an opportunity when it comes, and he certainly can do that, and he practices that week in, week out with his role here at Arsenal.
Ready Eddie.
Ready Eddie, there you go.
He's had a bit of an arc in the last couple of years as well, because there were times when it looked like he might well leave Arsenal. He obviously hasn't been first choice. Ghana wanted him to play for them as well, so that represents a real high point in what has been actually a difficult couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's always playing this kind of role, isn't he? Like we've just discussed. Yes, he had a good run in the team last season with the injury to Jesus, and I felt he really stepped up at the beginning of that run. Maybe towards the end, it wasn't quite going as he'd have hoped or as they'd hoped, but nothing's perfect for his age, for the amount of appearances that he'd made. I thought he was outstanding, the job that he did when he came into the team, and he's done well again this season when he's been called upon.
I think from an England point of view, Gareth Southgate naming all the midfielders and forward players who were picked in the squad in June and won the two matches so well. He could have brought in Ollie Watkins again to be part of that, but what he's decided to do is to bring in Eddie Nketiah, someone he's not seen involved with the senior squad. There are only, I think it's 4 more get-togethers for England before the Euros, so I think that's what he's doing. He wants to have a look at him and just see what he's made of.
But also, like I mentioned, John, Gareth Southgate's very into players that come in and not just enhance the squad on the pitch, but in terms of who they are as people and how they'll adapt and how they cope with maybe not playing, and I think he's shown that he can do that really well.
Let's talk a little bit about Manchester United's young striker. He's not in the starting lineup, Rasmus Højlund. Of course, we've not seen him at all yet because of injury. Is there a bit more pressure on him, Matt, than there would have been if he'd been playing from the start of the season? Because all we see is more evidence that Manchester United need him.
Absolutely, because it hasn't gone particularly well in that area of the field, has it? They haven't scored as many goals, and they've conceded quite a few goals. So they're not in terms of form. When you watch their performance, hasn't been great. The results have been good in terms of wins in the last 8 or 9 games have been outstanding in the Premier League. But in terms of performances, they're not looking razor sharp. I think it's never easy when you sign for that kind of fee in that position, especially, and then you're injured at the start of the season. It doesn't help, and like you say, it just raises that expectation or pressure that when you come into the team, you're going to hit the ground running, and also you're not at the same level. So these players and the players you're playing against have had 2 or 3 matches. You're really now warming into your match fitness and sharpness. He's still got that to come, and he's got to really earn that and gain that in these first few matches that he plays.
Just watching him I'm just watching him, Steve, in the middle of the field at the moment. He's with the substitutes, and on this hot afternoon I can actually see the perspiration glistening on the back of his neck. So there he is, he's involved, and whether we see him today to make his debut, well, we'll find out, won't we?
Is it hot, John? You haven't mentioned.
Just trying to give you an idea of what it's like for them out there in the sunshine. That's all.
Very good, very good. Great colour. Let's hear from the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag, who's been talking about Højlund. He says he'll be brave in this United team and that he's had an impact already.
I think he's a different character in our squad, and that makes it really exciting. And I think for the balance in the squad, it's very good. And already we noticed that in this week when he came in, a different spirit is coming up, and he gives that energy. So also other players, you see them get energy from it. So it's very good, and just let him settle in, give him time. No player can act from the start. Of course, we expect a huge impact, but also he needs time to settle into the team, to settle into the way of play, and the rest will come. I'm very convinced of that.
That's exactly what they need, an injection of, isn't it, Matt? That energy that he's talking about.
Yep, and they need somebody to stick the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this guy is there to do. As simple as that, to come alive in the box, to have that kind of brightness, that energy that he's talking about, what he brings to the team in terms of change room. They'll obviously learn, and the manager obviously seems very happy with that. But on the field, that striker position for Manchester United, we've been talking about it for a long time, like a lot of other clubs, but it just hasn't really been filled with that goal scorer, that goal poacher, and I think that's what they hope he's going to be for them.
It's impossible, John, not to mention the sort of the marked contrast in recruitment here. Manchester United working toward the final minutes of the window, and Arsenal kind of sitting back and very happy with what they'd done long before that.
Yes, I think it's a fascinating one to think what Manchester United supporters think about the recruiting policy this summer. I've got an idea. There's a big statement with Højlund, but I mean, who would necessarily have expected that Sofiane Amrabat, very good player that he is, we saw that at the World Cup with Morocco, who would have thought that he would pitch up at Manchester United and might be a very important player alongside Casemiro for them. But Reguilón, who'd have thought he'd turn up at Manchester United? Who'd have thought Johnny Evans would be back at Manchester United at the age of 35? So, there's some...
But some of that's a bit scrambling though, John, is it, in terms of injuries and the situation they are going into that deadline period. I'm sure that's influenced a couple of those signings, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, but it's still Manchester United.
Yep. True.
Does it feel slightly random still, Matt? I mean, I remember when they signed Casemiro, and the point that was made by a few people at the time is that Casemiro's a really, really good player, but he doesn't say much about long-term view and being organised. People used to say that about Arsenal, and Arsenal just seem to have things in order now.
It's much better, isn't it? And the recruitment, and it helps when you've had a season like Arsenal had last season, which was a standout season for them, and in many ways they didn't quite see it over the line, but it was still a great season for the club, and I think they put a lot of things right, certainly off the pitch, in terms of their recruitment, the age of their squad, what they hope for the future. And you don't quite look at Manchester United in that same light, that they have that same kind of philosophy in terms of what they're putting together. But the ownership of the club is still very much a big doubt, isn't it, and what's going on there, so that never helps these.
Not that everything has been perfect with Arsenal's recruitment. I think it's fair to say Kai Havertz still has something to prove. He's not yet scored for Arsenal. He's playing in this sort of deeper midfield role at the minute. Let's hear from Mikel Arteta. He says on Havertz, he doesn't want to hear about the numbers because he's a big fan of his football brain.
I tell you what I feel about him, that I love him, that I see his qualities every single day in training. His work rate is excellent. A lot of the things that he's for the team is so good. The visual one, that they went with the stats, at the moment is what is missing to put the ball in the net and to arrive on those zones and have a different impact in the game. But for the rest is that it's difficult to ask, especially our people in our stadium and our supporters, more. But my feeling is give him love and we will get the best out of him. But with any other player, and I think we have some very, very, very beautiful example in the last few years with players that we have given a lot of support and be behind them and give them love, and they have felt that and they just have exploded. A lot of good examples. So I will stick to that.
So he's basically saying, Matt, give him love and support and the numbers will follow.
Yeah, I mean, enough has gone right from Mikel Arteta and Arsenal in these situations than wrong in the past 2 seasons, hasn't it? That's the point he's making. We've had enough players that have come through the door that have had these kind of grumblings and what have you, and they've ended up to be a success. So who's to say this isn't going to be? I don't think you can tell yet, but there's certainly certain things about the changes that he's making to suit him that I think are really interesting, because I think that does affect the way that Arsenal play, and what was successful for them last year might have changed a little bit because he's changing a system to fit that type of player in. So that for me is a big statement, and that just shows you how much he likes the way he play. I mean, he just expressed it there in that interview. I love him as a footballer, his decisions that he makes on the pitch and how he operates. Well, that's why he's being accommodated, and Arsenal this slightly different look this season with him in the team. But I think he's right to say you have to give it time, because they've got enough right lately to warrant that.
Let's bring Sam Dean into the conversation, football reporter for the Daily Telegraph. Afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon.
Where is Kai Havertz's best position in this Arsenal team? Does Mikel Arteta know the answer to that?
I think Arteta would tell you it's on the left of that midfield three. That was primarily where he was signed to play, and although he played up front in the Community Shield against Manchester City, and I think did a pretty good job, most people would say, but apart from missing a couple of chances, I think the plan and the big strategy this year with Havertz is to play him in the position that Granit Xhaka played last season. Obviously he's a very different player, he's more offensive, he's more used to attacking the box, and hopefully for Arsenal's side will score more goals. But as has been obvious in the last couple of games, and you can see it with the fan reaction, it's not been altogether convincing so far. One thing I would say about the shape, and Matt mentions this, is that he's not played yet with Zinchenko behind him, and Zinchenko really is sort of fundamental to everything that Arsenal do, and the system and the shape they built last year. So far Havertz has played ahead of 3 different left backs in 3 games. So with Zinchenko coming back in today, I think Arsenal fans will hope that kind of unlocks Havertz in the same way it unlocked Xhaka last season.
That's really interesting, Sam. Can you explain that then? So what is it about the job that Zinchenko does which would allow Havertz to be more freed up?
Well, so the way I see it working, I should be clear that I'm no tactics guru, and I think Mikel Arteta would also agree with that, given the way he described his tactics the other day and playing 36 different formations in one game. But on a very basic level, Zinchenko starts at left back but comes into midfield and helps them dominate the game. And when he does that from the left-hand side, last year that really freed up Granit Xhaka to push forward, and Xhaka scored more goals last year than at any other point in his Arsenal career, and really relished that freedom that Zinchenko gave him behind. So Havertz getting that today for the first time will be very interesting to see, I think.
That sounded spot on to me, Sam. Tactics guru, mate.
If I'd have said that, Matt, you'd have said it was nonsense. The reason I asked the question, Matt, about whether or not Arteta knows his best position is that clearly that is where Havertz is going to be playing. He's going to be playing just to the left of Declan Rice. But in that interview, he's talking about, show him the love and the goals will follow. But you wouldn't expect anybody in that position to have their success judged on the number of goals they score. He's playing on the left of midfield.
No, but I think that's already been mentioned, that's been a key part of Arsenal's plan last season for sure. I mean, their midfield, Xhaka arriving in the box, I couldn't believe it. It was just popping up all the time, runs from deep, arriving, scoring goals. And I remember watching some clips of Havertz when he signed for Chelsea, because I didn't know a lot about him. And he played in that area, he played on the left-hand side, coming inside a lot into that midfield area, running from deep, and he scored quite a few goals, which I think is what really turned people's head in the first place. It was a goal-scoring midfield player who's 6'4" and can get about the pitch, and I think that's obviously really attractive.
What I would say as well, Steve, is that in pre-season, a real obvious strategy was whenever Saka had the ball on the right wing, Havertz would attack the back post, and he's so tall and he's so strong in the air. And he's got 2 goals in 3 games in America to sort of attacking crosses at the far post. So far in the Premier League it's not quite worked, but he's still making those runs and making that movement. And I expect at one point a Saka cross will land on his head and he'll score a goal, which Arsenal didn't really have last year in their locker.
Sam, just before we let you go, we've been talking about Kai Havertz and how Zinchenko at left back gets the best out of him. The name we haven't mentioned, and the player surely that was signed to really dominate these kind of big games, is Declan Rice.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the biggest moment of Rice's Arsenal career so far. Obviously, only a few months in, so that doesn't say too much. But I think fundamentally he started very well. I think Arsenal fans are definitely on board with what he's offering, and you could see even against Fulham when the team wasn't great across the board and they drew 2-2, some of his tackling and energy and that physical presence he brings to the midfield was really obvious. What will be interesting today is he's sitting there in midfield at the base of it in the role that Thomas Partey really made his own last season, and he's not got Partey next to him today, which he has had in each of the previous 3 games this league campaign. So it's a big responsibility and a big pressure on Rice, but these are the moments he was signed for. He's got the personality to own a game, I think, and especially with United's midfield looking a little bit open and shaky in the first few weeks of the campaign, I think Rice will be licking his lips today.
Key battle, Rice versus Casemiro this afternoon. Sam, thank you very much indeed. That's Sam Dean, football reporter for the Daily Telegraph, with us live on 5 Live. We'll be back with your commentary team, John Murray and Matt Upson, shortly. Just under 10 minutes to go till kick-off. Full commentary on the way of Arsenal versus Manchester United. These are the sounds of the Emirates. We've got just over 5 minutes to go until full commentary on Premier League Sunday of Arsenal versus Manchester United. John Murray and former England defender Matt Upson, your commentary team. Matt, let's have a quick word on the local stars in a global event, a global game. Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, Marcus Rashford for Manchester United. You still need it, don't you? Even at the very top level. If you're a fan at this game, you need to see yourself represented.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Stephen. If I cast my mind back to January, I mentioned it to John earlier, I mean, it was the Rashford and Saka show, this game. Both Marcus Rashford had come back from the World Cup and was in unbelievable form for about 6 weeks, and Saka matched him all the way, and those two were just out. I mean, it was such an entertaining game, but especially those two, they just stood out a mile with the quality and the excitement that they played with on that day.
And that's where the recruitment comes into it, because this Manchester United, albeit with a couple of new faces on the bench, look exactly the same. This Arsenal look very similar, but with that man Declan Rice in the middle. Yeah,
absolutely, which is a big plus for them, because I think he's just so secure, he's so solid. Is a great character, leadership material. But for Marcus Rashford, I feel like that he really has to be operating at a high level to almost pull this team along in that sense sometimes. And I think just having that pressure on him and sometimes offloading that pressure and just letting him do his thing is when you see the best things from Marcus Rashford. And I'm sure Manchester United are wanting to be in that kind of form today.
Teams are on their way out. All yours, John.
Thank you very much, Steve. Welcome everyone to the Emirates Stadium, North London. The sun's out in the capital for this one, and rightly so, because this is a match that for decades and decades has felt like a special occasion. Arsenal against Manchester United. Over a 25-year period, from 1989 to 2013, either Arsenal or Manchester United won the league between them 18 times in that 25 years. And yes, Manchester United had the lion's share of that, 13-5. But these days, Manchester United, as the players shake hands across the halfway line, Manchester United have not been champions since 2013, 10 years ago. And Arsenal, this season, this club is celebrating the 20th anniversary since they last won the Premier League. But Matthew Upson, they're the teams that finished second and third last season. So would we be right in thinking that they are getting closer to what they once were?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think Manchester United have been in such a bad place that they're gradually reeling that back in, and Arsenal have had a quicker ascendancy, you'd say, back to that competitive level. But make no mistake, this game, across the years, certainly 20 odd years ago, it was massive. Huge game, two massive clubs, and a lot of really good talent out on that field this afternoon.
The Arsenal players, I'm sure, in this warmth, they can't get their tracksuit tops off quickly enough. So red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts, white socks. Manchester United are on the other side of the halfway line. They look as though they've turned up in somebody else's kit.
Can you get on board with that? How weird is it to see that kit, John?
That is a sort of green and white striped shirt with black shorts and bottle green horizontally striped socks. The one good thing about it is, and all kit manufacturers and all football clubs take note, they've put a green panel in the back of the shirt, so you can actually see the numbers on the backs of the shirts. So I'm not complaining about it too much.
Is that just for you, John?
Well, maybe. Well, it's for anyone who wants to identify the players, basically. So a very unfamiliar looking Manchester United in terms of what they're wearing today. I think it's the first time they've worn this kit, certainly in a competitive match. But the teams, before we get underway, Ramsdale in goal for Arsenal, and then it's back to what was a familiar back four of last season. Ben White on the right, Gabriel, Saliba and Zinchenko. So Gabriel and Saliba back together, starting for the first time since the Community Shield, and Thomas Partey not involved. He's picked up an injury in training. Then the midfield, Declan Rice with Odegaard and Havertz either side. Then Saka and Martinelli either side of Eddie Nketiah, new in the England squad this week. So 3 changes for Arsenal, just the one change for Manchester United, and that is Lindelof coming in for his first start of the season, with Varane ruled out for a period of time. So Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Martinez and Dalot, then Casemiro with Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen, and then Antony and Rashford in the wide positions, and Anthony Martial through the middle. Amrabat, the new signing this week, not involved yet, and Rasmus Højlund, the exciting young Danish striker, is among the substitutes for the first time. The match begins here at the Emirates. It's Manchester United who kick off on a sun-drenched afternoon in this part of the world, and Manchester United, with the noise still reverberating around the Emirates, and the World Service listeners joining us here as well. They play the ball back to their goalkeeper Andre Onana and start to play it out from the back. So the match is underway here at the Emirates, but news of the 3 o'clock kick-off, one of the 3 o'clock kick-offs in the Premiership in Scotland, because Kenny Crawford?
Yeah, 70 minutes gone, it's still Hearts 0, Motherwell 1, but the Steelmen, the visitors, have to play the last 20 minutes with 10 men because Paul McGinn, brother of John McGinn, has been sent off for a second yellow card. 1-0 Motherwell.
And last I heard, it was still Aberdeen 0, Hibernian 0 in the other 3 o'clock kick-off, after Celtic were the winners in the Old Firm match at Ibrox in our first commentary match of the day. Arsenal breaking into the Manchester United penalty area, the ball pulled across from the left by Martinelli, but cleared away by Manchester United on the edge of the area. It was actually played between Saka and Nketiah, and Manchester United were able to get it away comfortably.
Yeah, just behind Nketiah and a little bit too far in front of Saka, that ball, as Martinelli was released over the top by a really good Kai Havertz pass. Ball was bouncing about in the middle of the park and he just almost hooked it over the top. There's a bit more to it than that, because I think he really knew where the space was and knew where Martinelli wanted it. It was a perfect pass from Havertz.
And that is the voice of Matthew Upson, England World Cup player, Premier League winner with Arsenal, in the sunshine with us here. Well, we're not quite in the sunshine, are we? We're actually tucked away under the roof of the overhang above our heads, but we're watching Arsenal on the move with the ball centrally with Eddie Nketiah. Must feel great this week, having been named in the England senior squad for the first time. Eddie Nketiah scored in both home games so far this season for Arsenal, and scored here twice against Manchester United in January. Martinelli on the left hand side for Arsenal, a dart towards the byline, but Wan-Bissaka was able to go with him and block it behind for the first corner for the home team.
That's going to be an interesting battle, certainly in this first quarter of an hour or so. Every time Martinelli's getting that ball, he's got one thing in his mind. He's going at Wan-Bissaka. He wants to commit him anywhere around the edge of the box and just face him up. We know how good Wan-Bissaka is at dealing with those situations.
So here is the corner to be swung in from the left-hand side by Martinelli. In fact, takes it short, gets it back. Martinelli into the area. Then there were defenders aplenty in there. He tried to drive it across. It hit one of them, bounced out, and the final deflection was off an Arsenal man on the edge of the area. Might have been Declan Rice, and it bounces behind for a goal kick to Manchester United.
You get the impression that somebody's really wound Martinelli up in the dressing room before this game. He has come out onto this pitch like he's been fired out of a cannon. Really is aggressive in his decision making, driving at players whenever he gets the ball. He's had 2 or 3 opportunities there where he's getting to the byline and very nearly creating a goal for Arsenal.
Well, it is still Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. So that's a bonus for Arsenal, having conceded a number of early goals in their recent matches, not least in the previous match here last weekend. You were here, weren't you?
Yeah.
Against Fulham, the 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
When Eddie Nketiah came on and scored the goal that made it 2-2. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. And Manchester United playing it out from the back. Lindelof coming in for his first start as Nana has to play it out wide. Lindelof under pressure, passes it forward. Important touch from Eriksen, otherwise that could easily have been given away. But Manchester United bring it away with Casemiro. Now here's Anthony on the right hand side, roundly booed. Anthony rolls his foot over the ball. Defender Gabriel is out there with him, manages to get a touch on it. The cheers from the Arsenal fans tell you that it has bounced and rolled for Arsenal. Anthony dispossessed. That's his first threatening run that he's had, but Arsenal dealt with it quite comfortably.
Yeah, Gabriel had to drift out to that left-back position because Zinchenko was already advanced up the pitch, but he had great body shape, came out, showed him the line, didn't overcommit and just managed to get a little tackle in on Anthony and divert the ball wide.
0-0. 5 Live on this Premier League Sunday. World Service are with us. You can listen to either 5 Live or the World Service via BBC Sounds as well. And Nana with the ball at his feet, the Manchester United goalkeeper, hitting it long down the left-hand side, looking for Rashford, who's not got into the game at all yet. And this one actually, Ben White heads it out of play for a throw into Manchester United down the left. Choice of listening at the moment on Sports Extra is the men's 2020 international at Edgbaston. England need 203 to win. And let's get an update actually from Adam Mountford, who's there.
And they've lost their first wicket, John. It's Will Jacks out for 11, caught off a leading edge on the deep cover boundary of the bowling of Jameson. England chasing 203 to win the series. They're 23 for 1 in the 5th over, John.
And commentary, as I say, on Sports Extra. County Championship matches underway today as well. A new round of them. Perfect weather for it across the country, I would think. And commentary on all of those matches on the BBC Sport website, on the cricket pages. Just look for the live page and pick whichever match you want. A great thing, County Championship cricket, I find, Matt. The older you get, it'll come to you, I think, as Manchester United play it forward to Eriksen.
What age or the cricket?
Well, age definitely will come to you.
Well, I'm pretty sure that will, but I'm not sure about the cricket for me, John.
One day.
Sorry to let you down on that front.
Here's Eriksen bringing the ball forward. Eriksen almost shaven-headed now. Christian Eriksen passes it back to Martinez, who's behind him.
If somebody dropped you into this stadium now and said that Arsenal were playing Juventus in a Champions League game, you'd think they were.
Well, Nana hits a long ball downfield. In this kit, if somebody said Arsenal are playing the dog and duck, I would probably...
Because it is green, isn't it? But really, it looks black, kit. John, doesn't it?
I think it's got a bit of red. I think it's got thin red pinstripes in there as well.
Has it?
But
it's interesting one, isn't it?
It's an interesting one, but no doubt people will sweep them off the shelves in the superstore.
It's funny because we saw a guy wearing the retro yellow and green one, United half and half one.
Yes, that's right.
That was an interesting awakening.
Yeah, although that's very much got a hint of history about it, and makes a point, doesn't it?
That's
with the whole Glazer sale of the club or not. Manchester United on the back foot now, as Arsenal with Declan Rice playing it out towards the left-hand side. Here's Zinchenko, his first start of the season. They've nursed him back, and with Partey out, it'll be interesting to see if Zinchenko does step forward into the midfield role on the other side, which I'm sure he will. Long ball forward for Martinelli to chase, and chase as he does, he won't reach that, and it bounces off the pitch and then down that little slope into the hoardings in front of the Manchester United fans, some of whom in there are actually wearing this very same replica kit of the Manchester United third kit. But a goal kick to Arsenal, and it is 0-0.
Yeah, I've already seen Zinchenko drifting into that midfield area. He's actually popped up over this side of the pitch on the right hand side as well at one point, and that's the kind of freedom that he has. And with Declan Rice as that one sitter, they really do have a player that is almost the mindset of a centre back at times, with the way he sees danger, and it's going to give Zinchenko even more freedom to roam the pitch.
Manchester United take the goal kick out from the back, and then Anthony is caught there when the challenge came in from Kai Havertz, who just mistimed it and barreled into Anthony, who chested it down, hooked it away, and actually as Havertz stepped in, he pulled out of that and actually put his foot down on the grass, and Anthony ran into him.
Had he have contacted him anywhere a bit higher in the body, Could have been in a little bit of trouble there, Havertz. It was a little bit of a reckless challenge for the ball from him.
Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. And Manchester United bringing it out from the back with Wan-Bissaka. Passes it forward to Martial, whose first touch was a little heavy there, but Manchester United kept it. But Casemiro passes it away to Arsenal. Declan Rice takes control in centre field, and then the ball bounces down at the back for Arsenal. Declan Rice has got what I would call that new signing applause from the Arsenal fans at this early stage of his career. A new signing, particularly when the club spent £105 million on whenever he does anything. Oh yes, he's ours now. He's ours. Applause.
Well, that's the going rate for a holding midfield player, John, isn't it?
Yeah. Britain's the man who is currently the most expensive British footballer of all time.
It's the most expensive position now, isn't it? It's fastly becoming.
Caicedo overtook him in terms of a record involving a British club, as Martinez goes all the way back to goalkeeper Onana. So Martinez and Lindelof in central defence. Johnny Evans is on the bench. Ball's headed back by Ben White after a long pass forward from Onana, but he got under that and just steered it back to goalkeeper Ramsdale. White back at right back.
I do like this balance of the back four, John. I have to say, seeing White back, Ben White in that position, Saliba, Gabriel on the left-hand side. I don't know. It just got a feeling of a bit more security, which Arsenal were last season. You know, there's no doubt that the majority of the fixtures, that area was pretty good. You know, in terms of being solid defensively, something that had been labelled at Arsenal as being poor at for many years. They kind of put that right, and I think looking at the back four today, it does look pretty solid at the moment. Nice balance to it.
Gabriel coming back in, his first Premier League start of the season, yet he started every game in the Premier League last season. Arsenal, however, lose it. Havertz puts in a challenge, but Manchester United played forward. Bruno Fernandes, who's not been involved in the game at all either, passes it forward but overhits it, and Ben White is going to play it back to Saliba, who takes a touch, then slips it infield to Declan Rice on the edge of his own penalty area, who then turns, takes it back into his own box and passes it forward to Zinchenko, who is in that midfield position. And Zinchenko forward now to Odegaard, and Odegaard to Saka on the right hand side, and Saka now up against Dalot, the right footed left back as he is at the moment. Odegaard centrally, excellent challenge by Bruno Fernandes, whipped it away from his opposite number, the other captain, and then Manchester United got stuck in trouble, but were fortunate actually. Anthony Taylor, the referee today, spots an infringement, a free kick, a challenge in centre field, and it's a free kick to Manchester United halfway inside their own half.
Well, Arsenal don't get out of that situation unless Zinchenko comes into that midfield area. He was the one that created the overload. They had quite a lot of short passes in and around that right back position. Good pressure from Manchester United. The ball gets spun out to Declan Rice, and he just sees Zinchenko in that centre circle, and bang, the ball's through into him, and that is the outlet. Just, it's a numbers game, isn't it? Create that overload. Zinchenko comes in there. It was brilliant play from Bruno Fernandes, wasn't it? Just to recover and win that ball back for his team. Really good defensive work from him.
Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. Manchester United have won the two home games eventfully against Wolves when they had, I think it was 3 shots on target, won 1-0, and then coming from 2-0 down against Nottingham Forest. So the Manchester United home record, which is remarkable really, unbeaten in 31 matches at Old Trafford in all competitions, but their record away from home, certainly away from home against the top clubs under Eric Ten Hag, just 1 point last season away from home against the top 9, and here they are on the back foot as Martinelli receives the ball into his path, takes it into the full-back position, a right-footed cross towards Odegaard, header, bounces down, and Ketcher couldn't get there, Havertz as well, and in the end, somehow, in a comedy of errors, the ball eventually is deflected behind for a corner.
Wow, that man Martinelli, again, he's on fire at the moment. They don't deal with it, Manchester United. The cross comes into the box, a header from the United player around the penalty spot, and then a ricochet from Anthony Martial. It falls to the feet of Kai Havertz, and on his left foot, I don't know what happened there. It was just a swipe for the ball, complete miscue, misses the ball almost, just skims it. Didn't look particularly comfortable or relaxed in order to take that opportunity, just tightened up a little bit. Real chance for him there just to tap one home from probably about 8 yards out.
Well, that was almost comical. Corner is swung in low to the near post, but Bruno Fernandes is there to whack a volley out of play into those who are drenched in sunshine on the lower tier of the Emirates Stadium. It's actually Diogo Dalot diving across his own penalty area, who headed it straight into Casemiro, who was next to him, and it bounced across, well, certainly Kai Havertz and the other Arsenal player who was in there. Neither of them, I think both were shocked to find it almost in a position where they could turn it into the net, and in the end it ended up in a corner. 0-0. Here's Odegaard now, the Norwegian, fair head out to the right hand side, and then Ben White plays it back towards Rice. Ben White not in the England squad despite his important position in the team that finished second in the Premier League, and the fact that he can play in so many different positions. Here's Odegaard playing it across the edge of the box, but a stretch from Wan-Bissaka. Martinelli is underneath it, just eventually gets the ball under control on the left hand side, and then quick feet from Martinelli, takes on Wan-Bissaka and wins a corner again off him.
Twinkle toes at the moment, Martinelli. Wan-Bissaka's having to be really careful not to overcommit, just to get that distance right. He's looking to go on the outside of him nearly every time. I know he likes cutting in on that right foot, but he's more than happy to run him to the byline and just try and get round the outside of him at any opportunity.
Corner then, again Martinelli, this is his third one. Let's see what the delivery's like this time. This is a deep one, and Nana comes, pushes it away, punches it away to Saka. Saka curls it goalwards, hits the chest of Eriksen, who was just 2 or 3 yards away from Saka when he hit the shot, and it bounced away to the halfway line. And Hibernian are now winning 2-0 away against Aberdeen. 2 goals in a short space of time for Hibernian, knocked out of Europe this week. Christian Doidge and Adam Lafondra scoring the goals for Hibs. So Aberdeen 0, Hibs 2, still Hearts 0, Motherwell 1, both 3 o'clock kickoffs those, and as we heard, Motherwell are down to 10 men in that match. Here's Dalot winning it back for Manchester United inside his own half. He's off over the halfway line, cutting in field, but the pass is short, and Havertz was able to glide back in there and pass it back into the back line to Gabriel. And then Declan Rice actually dropping right in between the 2 Arsenal central defenders.
There's been quite a lot of errors in this game so far, John, though, would you say? Like, in terms of technically, short passes, miscues, poor clearances, it's not been like, it's a little bit frantic. Players look a little bit edgy, a little bit nervous maybe. It hasn't been the smoothest of games in terms of technical and real quality on the pitch so far.
Well, as I said to you, I think there's been enough uncertainties about both of them this season coming into this match to not know whether both would play well.
Yeah, it shows, doesn't it?
One would, or whether both might be a little off colour. Anana passing it out from the back, and Casemiro with a sure touch. Under pressure from Odegaard to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka goes long to the halfway line. Anthony, sort of flimsy header, and Arsenal have got the ball back just inside their own half. Declan Rice, already very much a part of the furniture here, the trophy winning captain with West Ham last season, started all of the matches, of course. This is 5th appearance, still got the number 41, this time in white on the back of a red shirt. Ball played back towards the halfway line, and then across to Saliba in the centre circle, just taps it square to Gabriel, who actually brings the ball to a standstill, and then taps it square to his right again. Now low out to the right flank, and here's Bukayo Saka, who scored in both of these matches last season. Infield to Odegaard, who hits the shot on the edge of the area, but that's blocked by a diving defender right in front of him, and it's back towards the halfway line. Now out to Martinelli again. Yet again it's Martinelli against Wan-Bissaka, takes him on, goes for the byline, gets the crossover to the back post, and Diogo Dalot is there to jump in front of Saka and head it wide of the far post as he was looking at it for a corner.
Yeah, impressive, the speed in which Arsenal circulate that ball out to Martinelli. Getting it to him quickly is the key, and at the moment they're getting it out to him so quick that he's got that space to then operate, and he's 1v1, and he really is on fire at the moment.
Yeah, that was the first time he's rounded Wan-Bissaka, though, who takes some rounding.
He does.
Corner from the right, Saka to take this. So this is the first one they've had from the right hand side, which is just down to our right. Lots of Arsenal fans in their replica shirts, standing, arms folded, looking over the hoardings, including that section where they all wear the black shirts. Saka into the back post, and then Rice with a header. He leapt highest, but couldn't keep it down, and it was over the top by a yard.
Well, he just drifts into that 6-yard box area, unopposed as well. There is a challenge coming out to him from a Manchester United player, but really could do better with that, Declan Rice. He looks to the sky because he knows it was an opportunity. He just didn't quite hang for enough time to get high enough and be able to punch that ball below the crossbar.
So it's going to be a yellow card already.
Time wasting.
Is it? Or it's a warning from Anthony Taylor, who's actually run all the way from centre field to speak to Anana and Lindelof, and he didn't show a yellow card there, did he?
No.
So that's I've not seen that yet. I've either seen the referees tell them from the halfway line to get on with it, or show a yellow card.
Yeah. You're time wasting if you want to run from the middle of the pitch, aren't you?
Don't worry, somebody will be adding it on, Matt. Someone somewhere.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Lisandro Martinez hitting it long downfield, but that's harmless. Manchester United, Arsenal having the better of things at the moment, and Erik ten Hag just shaking his head there. He's standing. He's actually just standing. He looks almost saintly, doesn't he? He's standing in a shaft of sunlight, so it's shadow all around him, and his shaven head is glinting.
He's put a pair of snug trousers on there as well, John.
He likes a snug trouser.
Do you like that tight fit?
Well, not as much as Erik ten Hag does. Here is Martinelli. Ball out towards the right-hand side. Saka pulls it down, but shows too much of it to Dalot, who goes down rather theatrically, but there's no free kick. He brings it back for that must have been the tiniest touch from Saka on Dalot.
The problem I have with this is that the linesman, the assistant, is 5 yards away looking right at this challenge. It's a sloppy touch from Saka. Dalot comes across, and then Saka catches him on the ankle. It's a tiny touch, really. Yes, there's contact, but Dalot realises that his body weight's going outwards of the pitch. He's going to fall over, and he just dives onto the floor, really, and he wins that free kick. But the assistant kept his flag down, which for me, he's got the far better view than Anthony Taylor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they will be speaking, I would have thought, to one another.
Yeah.
Over the.
But it's flagged, Johnny. You see that as an assistant, you flag it.
I mean, it's Gary Bezic who's the assistant here, who's I think recognised as one of the best assistant referees that you'll get anywhere. However, as we were saying after yesterday's events, mistakes are made. Manchester United, the Arsenal crowd are fired up now, and they feel that Nketiah was fouled by Anthony, but Manchester United bring it forward, but the ball bounces back for United into their central defence. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. At full time in the 3 o'clock kickoff in the Super League, Matt Newsom.
Yes, one's finished. Wakefield 16 at St Helens 32. They go level at the top of their Super League table with Catalan and Wigan. However, for Wakefield, it means that their attempts to try to avoid the drop still remain in the balance. They still need to supersede Castleford, and they haven't this afternoon. Full time, Wakefield 16, Saints 32.
And if you didn't hear, they did finish off the match that was suspended last night, the floodlight failure. It finished Leigh 34, Huddersfield 16. We've got a stoppage here, and again, the Arsenal crowd have been really whipped up by this. Anthony Taylor stopped play, and actually, this is taking a little time to sort itself out. The Arsenal players have come across for the water bottles, and Anthony Taylor is going to start play with a drop ball.
Why? I don't actually know why the play stopped, because there was a tackle. Ben White comes in to win the ball off Marcus Rashford, and there's a complaint that Rashford then follows through and catches him. But for some reason now it's a drop ball into Christian Eriksen's feet, and Manchester United restart the match with possession.
Unless they stopped it because the 2 Arsenal players were down. I don't know whether there was a feeling that they'd collided and maybe it was a head injury. Maybe, which it wasn't. Well, it's a little fractious. The quality is not the best, I have to say. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. But Arsenal are having the better of things. However, these incidents that have happened, the free kick that was given against Saka, what we've just witnessed there, it's whipped the crowd up, and that might actually aid the match.
Well, Arsenal started fast, which they tend to do at the Emirates, I will say. They like to go after their opponent in the first 5 minutes. And they've done that, has to be said, in this game. They've really tried to take the game to Manchester United.
It's a goal kick that Manchester United are taking their time over. Anthony Taylor is waving his hands and pointing his finger and telling them to get on with it. And now they've played out from the back. And I think, did he say the ball was not in the 6-yard box when he took it?
Well, couldn't have been far outside, could it?
Well, they've gone back and they've taken it again from the edge of the 6-yard box. I mean, maybe slightly, but anyway. Seems rather fussy, a lot of all of that. Lindelof carrying the ball out from the back. So Johnny Evans is on the bench for Manchester United, having signed a year's contract at the age of 35. Harry Maguire there as well. And again, if you just switched on, Sofiane Amrabat, the Moroccan World Cup player, he's not yet involved. Obviously didn't get everything sorted out in time, so not involved, not on the bench today. But Reguilon is on the bench. Sergio Reguilon, now on loan at Manchester United, the former Tottenham man, and their new goalkeeper as well, Altay Bayindir, the Turkish international, on the bench with Dean Henderson having left. So quite some changes for Manchester United. Here's Lindelof at the back. Lindelof shapes himself and sends a long pass forward, but Saliba's able to come across and just head that down. And then Anthony fouls Gabriel, and Gabriel marches towards the referee.
He scoops the ball away here, Anthony. That's what they're complaining about. He goes to ground Gabriel, the whistle blows, and Anthony just does exactly
what the players have been told not to do.
Exactly that. Now he's turned around and pointing to his ears as if to say, didn't hear the whistle, or the whistle hadn't been blown, but
I think the referee was pointing at his whistle. Anthony Taylor, I think, was saying, I'd not blown the whistle before he kicked the ball away.
Okay, so he agreed with him.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, because otherwise he would have booked him, John. It was a clear, just kicking away of the ball.
Nothing could be more certain, because they've been given a clear line of thinking that's what will happen.
And that has been enforced, in fairness, so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too much, might be said.
We could say that. 25 minutes played. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. This is the Premier League on the BBC, on 5 Live and the World Service. BBC Sounds as well, if you're on the move, on what for many I'm sure will be the last holiday weekend of the summer. He sighs. Here's Eriksen out to the right hand side to Wan-Bissaka. Not long before we'll be sitting here and the cold wind will be whistling around us. Here's Casemiro back to Wan-Bissaka. There's a cheery thought. Wan-Bissaka couldn't get it away. It was headed forward by Nketiah. And Arsenal now, but that's intercepted by Eriksen. All a bit scrappy. Eriksen tries to run it away. Oh, glorious pass through to Rashford, who's into the area now on the left-hand side. Defenders are back. Rashford still going and shoots it off a post. Super stuff from Marcus Rashford to score his first goal of the season, delivered by a brilliant ball from Eriksen. But Rashford still had an awful lot to do, but my goodness, he did it. And it's Arsenal 0, Manchester United 1 against the run of play.
Well, what a sucker punch that is for Arsenal. Super finish, Marcus Rashford. I mean, that is the first time we've said his name, John. He's been anonymous in this game so far, barely had a touch, but boy did he come to life here. Unfortunately for Kai Havertz, the weight is on his shoulders with a crossfield ball just in the Manchester United half. A really loose pass, he tries to play across the pitch. It gets intercepted by Eriksen, and like you've already mentioned, it's a lovely little ball just inside Ben White, curling out to Rashford. He's in that perfect position that he really loves, coming in from the corner of the 18-yard box on the left-hand side, drifting into the pitch onto his right foot. He cracks one right into the far post corner. Ramsdale gets a fingertip to it, tips it onto the post, and it's in the back of the net. Super piece of counter-attacking football from Manchester United.
Yeah, it's been a feature of the season, actually, counter-attacking goals. I've seen a lot of it from West Ham, certainly in East London and elsewhere. But there, I mean, the weight of that pass from Eriksen as well
is that perfect.
High quality.
Yeah, top quality, unlike the pass from Havertz, which unfortunately really did get cut out, and it's such a dangerous area of the pitch, that central area. You play that crossfield ball, even if it's in the opposition half, just shows you how quickly you can get hurt.
So Arsenal 1 down, but Martinelli, and now Odegaard left foot scores! It's 1-1! The Manchester United lead lasted little more than a minute, and Arsenal cut them open, and Odegaard arrives arrived to make it Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1, with a sure finish with his left foot from 12 yards.
Well, there's one thing I know. When I see Martin Odegaard line up with his left foot and the ball is just rolling at a nice pace across the 18-yard box line, roughly just outside the box, and he's stepping onto that, you know this ball's hitting the target. He's one of the most consistent, smoothest strikers of the ball there is in the Premier League, and it's a lovely play. Martinelli again picks him out, he gets his head up, and the weight of the pass from Martinelli, I mentioned how good it is to hit it first time. It is perfection. It's just trickling along far enough away from Darlow, I think it is, who's on the edge of the box, and he strokes it home into the bottom corner. Martin Odegaard, it's a brilliant finish, lovely goal from Arsenal.
Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. So there we are, 2 goals in maybe 2 minutes, and that's enlivened things. The Emirates was quiet for a moment, for really a matter of moments, until Arsenal mounted their first attack after going 1-0 down, and it's 1-1.
It's followed a very similar pattern to the January game, hasn't it? With Rashford scoring the opener, Arsenal then equalising quite soon after. Very similar type of game.
We're going to go to Tynecastle shortly, but Arsenal are on the move again here, and it's the goal scorer Odegaard to Saka. Saka curls it across the penalty area, but Wan-Bissaka's underneath that to head it out to Rice, and Rice under pressure from Bruno Fernandes has to turn and actually go back to the halfway line. So I think it's all over with you, Kenny Crawford, is it not?
Yes, John. Full-time score, Hearts 0, Motherwell 1. Callum Slattery's 29th minute goal, the match winner. 4 successive defeats in all competitions for Stephen Naismith's Hearts. Meanwhile, Motherwell are joint top of the Premiership on 10 points with Celtic after 4 games.
And it did finish Aberdeen 0, Hibernian 2 with those goals from Le Fondre and Doidge. So those the full-time scores in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premiership. The 2020 international continues on Sports Extra. England chasing that big total. We'll get another update from there in a moment or two. But after this flurry of activity, Rashford scoring for Manchester United and Odegaard for Arsenal, it feels as though it's all happening here just now, after that scrappy opening period of 25 minutes and more, really. Suddenly, the goals have changed the game. Manchester United playing the ball out from the back. So Martin Odegaard scoring for the second time this season, scored the winner in the win at Crystal Palace, and now scoring here at the Emirates and arriving onto the ball. You said it, Matt, you know, there was a certainty, wasn't it, as he arrived onto that, somewhere between the penalty spot and the edge of the area, that would end up in the back of the net.
He's a very consistent technician, isn't he, Martin Odegaard? There's one thing about him that you know the ball's going to stick, and when he strikes it and when he plays those side foot passes, it was almost like a side foot strike, wasn't it? Just guided it, but the weight of the pass from Martinelli, that's where the real detail is. It was a super pass.
Yeah, 2 excellent passes to set up the 2 goals. They are proper assists. Rashford though at the other end to Dalot cuts it back. Oh, Bruno Fernandes took a touch there, he might have let it go, and then the shot from the edge of the area from Eriksen is deflected wide of goal and behind for a Manchester United corner, their first.
Good pressure from Kai Havertz, sees the danger here. Manchester United get to that byline, it gets cut back, and Havertz is out quickly, really gets along that line of that near post where Eriksen's trying to guide this shot, gets a good block in.
So Bruno Fernandes wanders out there to take this corner from the right. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. Just waiting for another ball to be kicked off the field. Mikel Arteta, all in black and grey, just turns slowly with his hand on his chin, and Bruno Fernandes, a high deep corner to the back post, takes a flick off an Arsenal head. Saliba. Manchester United take up possession again, but Rashford is dispossessed by Saka. Well done, Bukayo Saka, and that could send Arsenal away, but a poor pass from Nketiah centre field. However, Havertz in with a challenge on Martinez, and Havertz, who towers over Martinez. The ball had gone, and there was just an element of arm there from Havertz into Martinez, who did not like that.
No, I saw a bit of that from him at Chelsea. Havertz, he's quite a physical player, certainly you can tell he gets right into the game, and when it gets this kind of niggly feeling, he's not afraid to just leave a little bit on someone every now and then. He's done it a couple of times. He had that slightly raised tackle on Anthony where he didn't make any contact, but it was quite reckless, and that there just letting Martinez know, who bounced back up off the floor, didn't he? Just straight up, and not happy with the way that Havertz went about that challenge.
No, Martinez, they used to call him the butcher, didn't they? When he was growing up. That's brave from Havertz, taking on the butcher.
Yeah.
Ball's out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal, or Die Metzger, as Havertz would say in his native tongue. Here is White, who is going to take the throw-in 20 yards inside his own half. So Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. So it feels like we saw that period of excitement with the goals, and then now suddenly it's returned to form again. Throwing up the line to Nketiah, but Saka infield to Nketiah, but he was surrounded by Manchester United, and then Dalot was able to slide in and play it back across the penalty area for Onana.
What was interesting when Saka shrugged Rashford off the ball there, I mean, I look at Saka and I see people just bounce off him. He's got freakish strength. When he gets grounded and he gets his feet in there and he gets in that squat position, you don't see many players able to shift him. He's very, very strong for that kind of wide player position. He uses his body brilliantly. It's one of his key strengths, really, the way he just receives that ball and is able just to hold defenders off all the time.
So it is Manchester United who come forward to the halfway line. Ball played across from centre field by Casemiro to Rashford. Rashford, quick ball into the edge of the penalty area to Martial, who turns away in the full-back position. Martial is followed all the way by Gabriel, who gets a little touch in on that, a toe end to put it out of play for a throw-in. The ball running between all of the various substitutes who are warming up there, and a curly-haired ball boy just trots up the little slope, collects the ball in amongst them and throws it to Dalot to take the throw-in, which he does, back to the halfway line. 5 Live and the World Service, half-time on 5 Live. We'll have more on the Crystal Palace win. Sounded quite eventful at the end, 3-2 against Wolves. A couple of goals from Edouard and one from Eza as well, who's still in the England squad at the start of this season. And Liverpool's very comfortable win, it sounded, listening to Ian Dennis and Leon Osman with the commentary, 3-0 against Aston Villa, with Liverpool putting an end to Aston Villa's recent run of victories. Szoboszlai and Salah with a couple of the goals, as well as a Matty Cash own goal. So we'll have more from those matches at half-time, no doubt hearing from players, managers, etc. Here's Martinez in the centre circle for Manchester United, just walking it forward. I do think that the heat will have been a factor. We saw that when the players came for the water bottles when we had that stoppage. Then Martinez playing it all the way back towards the edge of the penalty area. Onana is there, all in yellow, having taken over this season from David De Gea, who it seems has not got a club still, remarkably. Onana, that's cool, chipping the ball over the top of Martinelli out to the far side. And Manchester United working it to Casemiro, who volleys it forward, and that's an excellent take from Antony on the right wing. Antony against Zinchenko, now moving in field, slips the ball into the penalty area for Martial, but well defended by Saliba, who came across, took the ball away and puts it out of play for a throw-in on the right hand side.
That's Rolls-Royce defending there from Saliba. Really was top, read the play and got his body across so early.
Great turn from Antony, and he slips over as he tries to play it across the edge of the box, but a brilliant turn to go between two Arsenal players and leave them behind, but a slip at the wrong moment. And then Nketiah is caught on the left wing. He was leaning down to head the ball, and then Lindelof, I think it was, came in with a challenge, it was, and raised a foot. Nketiah leaning forward and down, but that foot caught Nketiah, and it's a yellow card for the Manchester United central defender and a free kick.
Well, it's just hesitant play from Lindelof. You don't get a chance. The ball bounces, takes him completely by surprise. He's got that much backspin on the ball. He's certain that it's going out, but it hits the turf and just spins back. It's on that side of the pitch where the sun is, John, and I think it's dried it out, so there's a bit of grip on the turf, and he was adamant that ball's going out of play. It stayed on, and Nketiah was the one that just gambled and went for it, and he got caught out. Lindelof had to just clean him out in the end. It was a definite yellow card.
Yeah, high foot, even though Nketiah was leaning forward, but he did catch him. Fortunately, he's okay, Eddie Nketiah. Free kick then. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. United were not ahead for long. Free kick. Odegaard plays it into the area, but poor delivery. Fernandes is able to comfortably get there first, and then it comes back to him in the right back position, and he clears to the halfway line where it's headed forward for Arsenal. And then another collision centre field, but the ball bounces away for Manchester United with Antony, who goes for an early ball infield towards Martial. It was behind him, not cleared, and it bounces to Rashford, who goes for goal from an angle, but this one he has hit sort of balloons and swerves away wide of the top corner and behind for a goal kick. So Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. The latest on the England run chase in the T20 at Edgbaston comes from Adam Mountford.
Really up against England, 67 for 4 after 10, chasing 203. Milan out for a very scratchy 2. Bairstow taken on the boundary for 12 off spinner Sodi, then had Brook caught for 8, mistiming a driver ball after overturning an LBW decision. Butler still there on 29, but England need another 135 from 59 balls, John.
So that is on Sports Extra right now, and the tennis commentary will be on there later, but the tennis, the US Open live from New York, is currently on the BBC Sport website and app, which is where the Italian Grand Prix was earlier, and we'll have all of the interviews, etc., from Monza on the Checkered Flag podcast. Now Bruno Fernandes has been injured in a challenge with Bukayo Saka, who's been yellow carded, to general dismay and outrage.
This is very strange because I think he's been yellow carded, but the foul is for Arsenal.
Because the initial foul was by Dalot on Saka, so the whistle went for that. The whistle went for the foul, but Saka, then stretching for the ball, has missed it and caught Bruno Fernandes around the ankle.
That's right. It's not often you see that, is it?
No.
But I guess Saka would say, well, the foul that I'm feeling from Darlow is impeding my movement, therefore I've lunged for the ball because I'm being fouled, and he's caught Fernandes, unfortunately. So I can sympathise with Bukayo Saka, to be honest. I mean, it was a tackle that you would see a yellow card given for, but it's under the strain of being fouled, so the foul came first, John. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one to probably decipher for the referee.
Yeah, but he did catch him.
Yeah, he did.
The ball had gone.
Yep.
And, it was stood up as he stretched in.
But it's being held back by Darlow.
Yes, yep.
So
I see that.
You know what I mean? So you can understand why Saka's saying, well, I'm being fouled. I'm not in full control.
Yeah, I think what is a racing certainty, the most certain thing today is that Anthony Taylor and the officials will be booed off at half-time. As the ball bounces out of play off Havertz, general groans from the Arsenal fans. Just around us here, one or two of them stand and wave their arms in the air. And Anthony is wriggling away down the right-hand side. Zinchenko does well. Zinchenko, that's former Manchester City, against current Manchester United. Back to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes overhits his ball forward. And we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
Misplaced passes, overhit passes, mistakes.
A lot of sloppy turnover of possession.
Yeah.
It hasn't been one of those high-quality games where the ball's getting pinged about and possession is key, and it's quite frantic, isn't it?
I thought the goals would change it, but it hasn't. It's actually reverted to type.
Because they were good goals, weren't they?
They were.
High-level goals, but the general play has been scruffy.
Rashford and Odegaard, the scorers of the 2 goals. Arsenal with Zinchenko. He'll be involved next weekend, you would have thought, all being well, against England when we'll be in Poland. Ball comes back to Zinchenko, who swirls it into the back post. Saka was there, but well defended by Dalot actually in front of him, who got his head to it to glance it away into the opposite full-back position. Good ball in from Zinchenko. Here's Declan Rice, upright. Little ball to Odegaard on the edge of the box, shimmy from him, gives it square. Saka on his left foot, then to Martinelli in the box on the left-hand side, curls it right up via a deflection and behind for another Arsenal corner.
Thought Saka was going to have a pop there, John, on his left foot. It was almost like the pass from Odegaard was almost suggesting to him, go on, hit that on the edge of the box. Instead, he opts to just funnel it wide to Martinelli, who was never going to get a shot off, but has that 1v1 ability.
Corner then, Martinelli, another one from the left-hand side, stands 1 foot in front of the other, raises his right arm, and here's the delivery in towards the near post, which is headed down by Casemiro for Manchester United, and then Antony goes down very easily after a challenge from Odegaard, and the referee has brought it back. Well, he spotted an infringement. He didn't bring it back, did he, for the foul on Anthony? I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did?
He did.
Well, there wasn't very much in that.
Apparently there was. He's not the favourite person at the Emirates at the moment, Anthony Taylor.
No, and neither Anthony nor Anthony Taylor.
Neither Anthony.
Anthonys are not popular here today. It's a bad day in North London to be Anthony. 1-1. And the ball goes back to Lindelof. Eriksson comes back, just taps it back towards Lindelof. We're in the 44th minute at the Emirates Stadium on this warm afternoon. Wan-Bissaka making ground down the right-hand side, but wins a throw-in as the challenge comes in on him. And Wan-Bissaka goes back towards the halfway line. We might see Rasmus Højlund in the second half for Manchester United, but Marcus Rashford, already having scored in this match, cutting in from the left-hand side. That just looks home to Marcus Rashford. And I know that he was affected playing centrally as Manchester United come forward. Bruno Fernandes heads it across the box. Half a shout for handball against Gabriel. Then Bruno Fernandes goes down. A challenge from Martinelli. Bruno Fernandes wanted the free kick. It's not given. He's herring around now in anger as much as anything else, but Arsenal clear to the halfway line. Manchester United though have got possession back. Martinez has now got the ball at his feet.
And it's interesting that Martial is hugging this left touchline a lot for Manchester United at the moment. I agree with you, John. I think that position where Martial is now, when I see Marcus Rashford there get the ball, I mean he can make things happen.
30 goals last season, that was his personal best. Manchester United's player of the year, and the goal that he scored here was the 6th one that he scored in the Premier League against Arsenal over the years. Martinez turns and then takes the ball back into his own half with added time now being shown. We are into that now at the end of this first half. What was the figure? It was 3 minutes of added time. Here's Onana with the ball on the edge of his own penalty area. Onana just plays it out in front of himself and then hits the long pass downfield. This is for Rashford to chase, gets up above Saliba, heads it infield but heads it straight to Arsenal's Gabriel. Then Rice with a pass forward through the middle to Nketiah. Couple of touches to Saka on the right hand side. Dalot gets back. That's been a good contest as well, and Dalot's won this one too. Puts in the challenge, takes it away from Saka. He's done well at left back, Dalot against Saka. Rice then with a pass out towards the left hand side. Martinelli with the ball at his feet, having already created one goal. Martinelli then back towards Zinchenko. Now Rice steers it again to Martinelli, who's running at Wan-Bissaka, takes him on again. Wan-Bissaka gets in there and is able to get a leg in the way of the cross behind corner.
I mean, he's won a lot of corners in this first half, hasn't he, Martinelli? It's credit to Wan-Bissaka because he's not
most
allowing
of them off Wan-Bissaka.
Exactly, he's not allowing that ball to get crossed. I mean, he's doing a good job in that full-back position, but what it is doing is obviously conceding a lot of corners that Manchester United are having to defend.
So, the 6th Arsenal corner of the first half in added time. Martinelli steps up to take it. It's a high in swing out over the back post, which is taken down by Nketiah. Tees up Saka on the edge of the box, beats Anthony and shoots, and it comes off the head of a Manchester United defender, I think Lindelof, which took it well wide, just stood up and let it hit him on the head, and it bounced wide.
Yeah, it's one of those where it comes out to Saka on the edge of the box. He steps inside onto his left foot. It's a perfect position to shoot from, but there's that many bodies in there that they've just got to stand big and stand tall and keep your eye on the ball, really, and he does that well. Lindelof gets a good header on it.
Corner is taken short this time by Arsenal. Martinelli gets it back and then plays it in from that angle. Well defended by Manchester United there, because that was a real danger in the air from Saliba. Arsenal still with it on the right hand side. Rice and White will allow it to roll out of play because it took a touch off the foot of Martial. White takes a quick throw. Manchester United very nearly switched off there, but not Martinez, who was able to chase it and make sure it went behind for a corner. And Odegaard now is trying to whip up the Arsenal fans, as if you need to do that in the clock stand to our right. He's actually right in front of those black shirts, who have there are probably about 100 of them, black t-shirts. It's that sort of Arsenal ultra thing that they've tried to create here. Well, they have created it there, and it's a corner from the right hand side. Saka waits. Here's the Saka corner. This is a deep one to the back post, which is headed down and wide by Martin Elliott. Bounced up at him, and there's the half-time whistle. And it's 1-1. Well, mixed half, Matthew Upson.
Very much so, John. Very much so. Hard to kind of take too much from it. Really exciting game of football, I will say. A lot of to-in and fro-in, a lot of people being dispossessed, misplaced passes. Adds for an exciting game. 2 top-class goals. Brilliant finishes and well worked. And as we'd expect, John, I think we spoke before, both teams a little bit uncertain as to how they're playing. It's a little bit sloppy in areas, but some real talent, which was highlighted by the quality of the goals.
Yeah, the referee, he'll be getting his chorus of boos very shortly. But 1-1 at half-time. Marcus Rashford, there it is. Told you.
Right on cue.
Yeah. So Marcus Rashford in the 27th minute, and the equaliser from Odegaard in the 29th. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 at half-time.
I don't think any more proof was needed, Matt, that Marcus Rashford's best position is out on the left, not through the middle, but he gave us some anyway.
He did. He just confirmed that one for us, Steve. Not like I say, not that we needed it, because I've seen him step in from that position so many times and be a threat, but he literally had barely kicked the ball for the opening 20-25 minutes or so, and then he pops up and does that. And the quality of Eriksen's pass as well. I mean, it was a sloppy ball from Kai Havertz that led to the opportunity, but didn't they take it with a brilliant pass from Eriksen, and then that finish from Rashford was excellent.
Thank you very much for the time being, guys. So Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 at half-time at the Emirates. On the BBC Sport website, we've got live commentary right now from the US Open. Here on 5 Live, we're on our way back to the Emirates. I'm trying to decide, John Murray, whether Manchester United's new striker is warming up with intent.
Yeah, well, I think what Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage might have to talk about later is the debut and what Rasmus Højlund looks like, because he's very much been the focus of attention for the television cameras. He's out there, the Manchester United fans have acknowledged him as well. He's given them a wave, and it's been quite a vigorous routine that he's been going through at half-time, Matt.
Yeah, as you'd expect, John, if he knows he's going to go on, which I think he probably knows he's going to feature at some point in this game. He's just getting limbered up and ready to roll, which as you'd expect. And
I think what increases the likelihood is that Anthony Martial, who's been playing in the Manchester United centre-forward role, has been very quiet.
He's not done anything. I'm not sure he could do anything to kind of convince Erik ten Hag that he's worthy of keeping that starting place, regardless of when Højlund is fully fit. But it just doesn't seem to offer enough, does he, Matt?
No, I don't know if there's anything more you need to say on it, Steve, if I'm honest. He's just out on the pitch and doesn't look like the centre forward that's going to have that kind of energetic impact on this team in terms of character, attitude on the pitch, in terms of the desire to want to go and get on the end of a cross or get hold of the ball and score. He just goes through the motions a little bit for me, and I think that shows in his performance. So knowing that this player is now coming in, having the money that Manchester United have spent on him, he's got the look of him, Anthony Martial, that he knows he's just going to be phased out, and that's it. And what you want to see a player do is grab hold of that shirt and want to keep it and scrap for it. And I'm not too sure if I see too much from him in his performance so far.
Yeah, you get the impression it's not going to be long at all until we see Manchester United debut for Rasmus Højlund, warming up at the moment out on the pitch there. The second half is just a couple of minutes away. Looking at the Arsenal bench as well, Matt, we might see a returning Gabriel Jesus at some point.
Yes, certainly. I mean, he's on the bench. I'm sure he probably will get some minutes, which is important for Arsenal because he adds a little bit something different in terms of the build-up play. I think he really does punch his weight in terms of holding the ball up and being physical. So I think that's something that he brings a little bit more to the team, and I'm sure we'll probably see him at some point.
It's also been interesting seeing Gabriel and Saliba back together, which isn't something that obviously they've had too much this season, but it just works, doesn't it?
I think so. I said to John after about 10-15 minutes in the commentary, I just feel comfortable. They're settled. Gabriel has approached this brilliantly. He's got a bit of intensity about what he's doing. He looks like he's organising, he's getting across, they're covering each other nicely. They have a nice understanding. You ask any centre-backs in a four, that partnership is crucial, just like centre-forward partnerships used to be. It's so important that it's right, and I think Saliba and him have a good understanding with each other.
08085 909 693. The lines are open for 606. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will be with you once we're done at the Emirates. Second half then of Arsenal Manchester United as the United players retake the field with Matt Upson and John Murray.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. The Manchester United players are out on the pitch. We're still waiting for Arsenal. Harry Maguire on the bench. And while we've got an England central defender sitting here with us, Matthew Upson, what are you expecting for England in these matches? Are you expecting that Harry Maguire, in the absence of John Stones, will start these matches? And you know the options are Mark Gay, Levi Colwill, Lewis Dunk, and Fikayo Tomori, who between them have got 8 caps. Those 4 have got 8 caps for England. Harry Maguire's got 57 on his own.
Yeah, well, Gareth Southgate's been very clear about his feelings on this every time he gets questioned about it, and he's very clear that he's always done the job he needs to for him. And I think the fact you mentioned is that Stone's not available to start. Be interesting if he was available. I think that you might not see him play, but I've got a feeling that he may well start the game just because of that experience you mentioned, John.
Well, we'll see that. We'll be going there together, won't we, to Poland this week. The match is being played in Wrocław, and you'll hear that on 5 Live next Saturday tea time against Ukraine.
Is that really how you say it?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I went there during the Euros.
With a W.
It is, yes. But we'll fine-tune that once we get there.
Yeah, I need practice on that.
Well, we've got time to work on it. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1, no changes. So Arsenal, Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Saliba and Zinchenko, Rice with Odegaard and Havertz, Saka and Nketiah and Martinelli, and Manchester United, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Martinez and Dalot. There's the whistle from Anthony Taylor. Second half begins. Casemiro with Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, Anthony and Rashford, and Martial through the middle. We might well see Rasmus Højlund make his debut for Manchester United in the second half. But Arsenal getting the second half underway. Still hundreds, possibly thousands of Arsenal fans coming back to their red seats, many of them faded by the sunshine that we have today. And Zinchenko in possession, playing it back into central defence to Gabriel, who's starting a match in the Premier League for Arsenal for the first time this season. Zinchenko in a very much a midfield role. He's in the middle of his own half. Zinchenko with his white socks pulled right up over his knees, turns and gives it to Saliba. Very gentle start to the second period. Arsenal is just knocking the ball around inside their own half, and it goes back again to Gabriel, and Ramsdale backing away. Still Arsenal just passing it around, and that's a poor pass actually from Gabriel, who gave it straight to Casemiro. Then Martial went down, might have been fouled by Zinchenko, that's what he thought. No free kick. Zinchenko, and now Arsenal are on the move with Odegaard to Saka on the right hand side. Saka looks for the overlap from White with the cross, but caught by Onana. The goalkeeper at the near post just threw up those white gloves, and it stuck to them just above his head.
Well, that right there from Martial is what we were talking about at half time. It's just the ball's coming into you, stand your ground, get your body in there, draw the contact, like be physical, do your job, hold the ball up for the team. And I mean, he goes over so easy, hoping to win something from the referee, and he just gets waved up off the floor. And it's just moments like that, John, that you just feel a bit of despair really in terms of how you're going about playing that position.
Second half has begun rather sleepily.
Yeah,
it matches the sort of sunny Sunday afternoon that we've got here. The tempo is right down. Lindelof playing it across the back line, and those who didn't rush back to their seats, well, they've missed nothing. Here's Eriksen with the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, and then Lindelof forward towards Fernandes. Wan-Bissaka in field, a flick from Anthony, but he flicked it straight to Declan Rice, and Rice will pass it back to Aaron Ramsdale in the goal to our right, underneath where the famous clock itself, the white clock with the black numerals, hangs high at the front of the top of the stand at the clock end, as it used to at Highbury many years. Here's Zinchenko on the left hand side. Zinchenko then back again to Declan Rice. And the transformation of the Emirates outside the ground continues. I went and had a look at the new statue of Arsene Wenger there, which has been put up to mark the 20th anniversary of the Invincibles, the last time that Arsenal won the league. And quite a statue it is. Have you seen it, Matt?
No, I haven't, John.
He's in his shirt sleeves, tie, and he's holding the trophy. high above his head.
Impressive.
It is actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in a little garden, and it's got, it's all done very nicely. I would recommend going and having a look at it if you come to the Emirates Stadium.
Could be a bit busy after the game, couldn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it today, maybe.
No.
Here's the ball down the left-hand side for Arsenal, but offside against Martinelli. And it is a very underwhelming start to the second half. So the World Service listeners are with us as well, BBC World Service listeners from wherever you're tuning in. And a rather soporific start to the second period after it's a free kick to Manchester United that they're not hurrying to take. And Nana comes out of his penalty area. Casemiro takes it, gives it away, and here's Odegaard trying to inject a bit of life into this match. Odegaard, left-footed, over the top to Martinelli, who chests it down, goes for the byline, but Anthony was back there with him. And referee Taylor, who was just inside the area, had a good view of that, says the final touch was off Anthony onto Martinelli and through for a goal kick to Manchester United. And let's just see how quick Manchester United are going to be about the taking of this goal kick. So Lindelof is in position on the corner of the 6-yard box, passes it back, takes it now, so they didn't mess around, to Onana, and the Manchester United goalkeeper plays it into centre field, where Eriksen's easily beaten in the air and Arsenal have got possession back.
I just feel if you're going to play that short ball and then clip it long, you're giving yourself a real problem, because if you don't win that header, which they didn't, Declan Rice won it, the pitch is so stretched because your two centre-backs are still on the edge of the 6-yard box, John. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if a goalkeeper waves players, and I know teams don't do it now because they want to play out, but if you then go long and you give the ball away, you're so open to being exploited.
So Arsenal have it again inside their own half. Forward from Zinchenko, that's poor, really poor. Straight to Wan-Bissaka. Zinchenko wins it back centre field. No, Fernandes actually comes out with the ball. However, he's dispossessed. And now Eddie Nketiah turns it back to Zinchenko. First time ball, that's more like it. Odegaard now, 25 yards out, takes it on. Right foot shot into the back of Martinez. And the ball spins out towards the far side. And out for a throw into Arsenal that Ben White is going to take. I think New Zealand are closing in on victory at Edgbaston. Adam Mountford.
Oh yes, England 115 for 9 in the 17th, chasing 203. Carl Jameson's just dismissed Luke Wood and Moeen Ali. Moeen doing his best to entertain his home crowd with 26, but England, well, I think it was safe to say we're going to a decider on Tuesday. 115 for 9, chasing 203.
Closing stages on Sports Extra. Arsenal take the throw. Cross from the right-hand side. It's glanced away out towards the left-hand side, where Zinchenko is in the shadows, actually, down to our left. Zinchenko takes a couple of touches, then plays it back into centre field. Arsenal sort of creaking into gear in the second half. Manchester United just haven't got going. Bruno Fernandes, though, is able to take it down and then volley a bouncing ball out towards the left-hand side, and Eriksen slips over. And therefore the ball bounces off the field for a throw-in to Arsenal. It was that sun-baked area that you were talking about in the first half over on the far side of the field.
They've had the sprinklers on, John, hence the slip.
Yeah. So Arsenal take the throw back into their own half. Declan Rice back to Zinchenko. Zinchenko has got Saliba to his right, and Saliba uses the available Ben White down the right wing. Quite a change, isn't it, for Ben White, who I know played most of last season when he played as a right back, and Tomiyasu is among the substitutes today, by the way, after being suspended for the Fulham game after his sending off against Crystal Palace. But to move from the central defensive position to that bombing right back role is a significant change.
It is, and it's probably more of a change to move to the centre back position for Ben White at the moment, because he's just been a consistent right back for Arsenal, hasn't he, for probably the past 40-50 odd games or so.
Zinchenko, long pass cut out by Wan-Bissaka, but he's presented it to Martinelli. Martinelli now taking it on, but Wan-Bissaka is able to go to ground, slide in, get a good tackle in, as he so often does, and it's out for a throw-in to Arsenal that will be left for Zinchenko. Again, it's Wan-Bissaka against Martinelli. In goes Wan-Bissaka, wins the tackle. That's been the contest of the match.
Yeah.
Martinelli against Wan-Bissaka, and it's just about even, like the match.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Martinelli's been really decisive. He's had clear intent, what he wants to do, and he's met up with Wan-Bissaka, who is just as relentless really in terms of how he plays his position.
Throw-in taken. Havertz inside the area tried to set up Nketiah, who got the ball down, shot goalwards, but that was blocked almost at source by Manchester United in these curious green, white and red striped shirts that they're wearing for their third kit this season. They look most unfamiliar. Ball played for, he slipped Saliba and therefore sent it straight through for a goal kick. So Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 is the score. Lines are open. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton waiting to take your calls on 5 Live to talk about the weekend's football, as they do every Saturday, every Sunday night on 5 Live. So 08 085 909 693 to book your call, or 85058 on the text, or hashtag BBC 606. Manchester United coming forward, ball centrally with Bruno Fernandes, now to the edge of the penalty area. Martial shoots from the angle, saved by Ramsdale, then driven in by Rashford, and Ramsdale's got a touch on that as well to deflect it wide, and it's a very good double save by the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Well, big chance for Manchester United, the first really of this second half. It gets slipped into Martial, he gets the shot off, it's parried out by Ramsdale. I think it's Gabriel with the block actually.
Yeah.
Does brilliantly to get across.
It was standing in front of Ramsdale.
It's an important block.
Ball back in play, shot by Dalot, that's blocked inside the penalty area, and the ball balloons away towards the halfway line where Manchester United are back in possession. But yeah, that very much against the grain of the second half so far. But Martial with a chance, shot from the angle, good save by Ramsdale, and then the block by the defender in front of the goalkeeper to take it away for the corner. So Martial and Rashford both denied. Arsenal trying to bring it forward with Eddie Nketiah, who I think is going to run out of pitch here on the left. He is, because Lindelof shepherded him out there, and it's a throw-in to Manchester United. Mikel Arteta is just making a point. I thought he was having an exchange with Anthony Taylor, but actually I think the message is for Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, the crowd down there chanting Eddie, Eddie, for Eddie Nketiah.
I thought he was taking the throw in.
He would do if he give him half a chance. Rice now to Martinelli on the left hand side. Martinelli pulls it across. Oh, that it's taken at pace by Nketiah in the chest inside the area. However, Arsenal have kept it, and now Martinelli again on the left hand side swings it over to the back post. Dalot chests it down very cleverly actually. Chests it down on the turn and volleys it out of play, and almost before the ball's bounced on the far side, the ball boy has actually sprinted forward and given the ball to White to take the throw.
Well, at least someone's playing at a high tempo, eh?
Yes, and the throw-in is taken for Arsenal. Laid back to the edge of the area, Saka, and Manchester United alive and aware that it could open up for him there, so he was very quickly closed down by Martinez, Lisandro Martinez. Still Arsenal. Zinchenko now to Martinelli. Again Martinelli against Wan-Bissaka, goes for the byline, again dives in, the Manchester United right back, and tackles it behind for a corner yet again. Wan-Bissaka and Martinelli for the umpteenth time in the match. That's what they'll be analysing tonight on Match of the Day too.
I mean, they've looked quite dangerous from corners, Arsenal. I mean, you'd like to think so. They're getting quite a few opportunities, but this delivery is key. But they've got players that can really attack the ball.
So it's Martinelli with the corner for Arsenal, which is rolled in short to the near post to Nketiah, who is able to turn actually, but Manchester United have got defenders back in there, in fact all players back inside their own box defending that. Still Arsenal though, 25 yards out. Saliba, nice turn, left foot onto his left foot, and rather uncertainly he passes it in the general direction of Martinelli, and Bruno Fernandes slid in to put it out of play.
I mean, he really had to get that thought out of his head, didn't he? He was lined up to shoot, and he just thought, I can't, not on my left foot like this, and just opted to slide it wide.
And then Martinelli wins a free kick. I think the challenge, Bruno Fernandes slipped as he went in to challenge him. No, he didn't. He just fouled him. He just fouled him.
Just clumsy.
So it's a free kick on the left hand side. Forgive me for not remembering, which was your stronger foot?
Left, John.
Yeah. And on your right foot?
I was both footed actually.
Of course you were. such class.
You've got to say that.
I really should have known that.
Both footed.
So free kick for Martinelli. So it's in the Manchester United right back area. It's about 7 or 8 yards away from the corner flag, and Martinelli backs away. Manchester United with a one-man wall, but actually Odegaard's in there as well. It's taken to the near post, clipped away. It actually hit Havertz, who tried to flick it on across the penalty area, but Manchester United cleared. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 is the score here at the sun-drenched Emirates Stadium in North London. Rice just forward of the centre circle, quick pass through the middle, and then it's slipped forward by Nketiah. Havertz is away inside the box. Challenge comes in from Casemiro. Down goes Havertz. It's a penalty, says Anthony Taylor. And it was a clumsy one. That's how it looked. And Havertz did ever so well there. The footwork, the quick feet, too quick for Manchester United. And that challenge, I think, by Casemiro was the one that sent him tumbling. Penalty to Arsenal.
Well, it's lovely play. Is it Nketiah with the pass through, or was it Saka? I couldn't quite see. I think it was Nketiah. Came through and flicked the ball the outside of his boot, but it's all about the touch from Havertz. Takes it into his stride, and it's clumsy. He gets in between Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka, and they just clip his heels. It looks a penalty to me. It was a good run, clumsy challenge, and it's almost like the game has been lured into a bit of a lull, hasn't it, John? And all of a sudden Arsenal put a couple of little sharp passes together, a lovely little slip ball from Nketiah, and the opportunity came. He's having a good look at VAR this one, though, isn't it?
are reviewing this to decide
it looks
whether Havertz has, I think, initiated whether Havertz has gone down first, and whether there's enough I think he's given the referee's given that as a penalty.
Yes.
The question is that a clear and obvious error?
No.
That should be overturned.
No.
And I feel not.
It's not. It's not. What it's.
He's going to the screen. He's going to the screen, and Anthony Taylor running towards us. Now I know that the officials have been told, the match referees have been advised this season, to be strong, and if they feel that they have called it correctly, to stick with their decision. But in most cases, this means an overturn.
The way I see it, that penalty could have been given, and people, you said fair enough. It could not have been given, and you're probably erring on the side that it looked more like a penalty real time. You can review it slow motion, and things look different. There's contact there, and they're moving quickly.
Here's Anthony Taylor. There's the rectangle in the air, and then the palms over one another, and the decision is that the penalty has been overturned, and it is a free kick to Manchester United.
The point is, when Kai Havertz is running through, it doesn't need a lot of contact in order to make this a penalty, because you have to gauge the quantities of contact in certain situations. There's enough of clipping his heels there. I guess the only thing is that he's going down a tad too early, I would say.
Maybe. Well, he is. But there is contact.
There's contact, and there's enough contact. You're clean through on goal, and you feel that clip of the heels.
Well, there's anger here at the officials from the Arsenal supporters. It remains Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. The 2020 international is over, and if you've been paying attention, I think people will know, Adam Mountford, which way it has gone.
England 128 all out. New Zealand win by 74 after two dominant victories in the opening games of this series. England poor today, especially with the bat. Butler made 40, but 3 wickets for Sodhi and Jameson. England never really in it, so we'll have a decider Tuesday night at Trent Bridge. That'll be live on Sports Extra, John.
Yes, the tennis will be on Sports Extra very shortly. The US Open, it is 1-1 here, Arsenal in possession. We're going to go to St Andrews in a moment or two, but the Arsenal fans, quite a few of them down here, as they can be from time to time, are quite angry and upset about that decision, and in all honesty, I don't blame them. And interestingly, it's actually been shown on the television screens here, which actually whipped them up further, and they cannot understand. Also significantly, we are going to see the Manchester United debut for the young Danish centre forward Rasmus Højlund in the next minutes, because he's being prepared by Erik ten Hag. But there's Eddie Nketiah playing it square to Odegaard onto his left foot in the D, still going, he's beaten two men, still going, the angle's tight now, shoots goalwards, but straight to Onana, who's able to just pluck it out of the air, and then overarm it out for Martial through the middle, and Manchester United could be off with that throw from their goalkeeper, and Martial tries to set Rashford down the left wing, which he does. Saliba is there with him, so has to go back towards Martial, who's still out on the left wing. I think this will be Martial's last action. Let's see what he's able to do. Martial, little ball to Diogo Dalot, and then back towards the halfway line to Christian Eriksen. We will be going to St Andrews very shortly, but Martinez with the ball in the centre circle actually slows it to walking plays. And the Arsenal players, every one of them behind the ball. The score still Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1, and Arsenal feeling aggrieved that that penalty that was given their way was overturned by VAR. Certainly a discussion point for 606. Ball kept in by Martinelli on the left wing. Did ever so well there. It was almost right on the white line. Still going now, Martinelli into the penalty area, up to the edge of the box, then slows. United have got defenders back. It's curled across the penalty area, aiming for Saka. Dalot got his head to it though, but Saka has retrieved possession for Arsenal, puts his foot on the ball, then taps it back towards Odegaard, slightly behind him. So the Arsenal captain, who was going to take the penalty incidentally, Martin Odegaard, he gets it back on the left hand side. Declan Rice now, ball stationary at his feet, goes back to the centre circle to Gabriel to Zinchenko, and then Zinchenko square from him to Declan Rice. Arsenal back in their stride here, and the supporters back in good voice. Odegaard near the edge of the penalty area, he's dispossessed. Manchester United on the break. Rashford gives it to Martial, and these green and white striped shirts sweep forward for Manchester United. Rashford now, ball right across the edge of the penalty area, but Gabriel was able to step forward and clear it away. And then Nketiah is caught by Martinez on the halfway line. The referee though plays the advantage. Odegaard's taking it forward. Saka's trying to get there to join him as well, but the Manchester United men are back. He didn't have any support there with Nketiah having been taken out of the game. Zinchenko, he's going to curl it in, took a deflection, and then it's headed up and behind, and it is behind for a corner to Arsenal, and a yellow card shown for Martinez for that challenge on the halfway line on Eddie Nketiah. So the Manchester United number 6 is booked. Corner to come in a moment. But what's the news from St Andrews at the Walker Cup? Ian Carter.
Great Britain and Ireland are battling, but I think America are going to edge this. These final sequence of singles edging in the way of the Americans. They're leading 12-10. They need one more point to retain the trophy, the Americans, and they're up in 2 of the 4 matches still on the course.
Thank you, Ian. By the way, the European Ryder Cup team will be finalised tomorrow, so listen out for that on 5 Live, and it will be covered in 5 Live Sport tomorrow night. And indeed, the Ryder Cup, the Solheim Cup, later this month. You'll hear it all here on 5 Live. And Arsenal still feeling upset about the way that penalty. They thought they had a penalty. It was overturned. Rasmus Højlund is going to come on now, and Martinez has actually hurt himself in that challenge on Nketiah.
He's gone down, and it's not too good. He's kind of indicated that he's feeling something. But are we saying that Arsenal are rotating their penalty takers then, John? Because Saka took the last one, didn't he? And Odegaard scored at Crystal Palace.
Yep, that's
so
right.
They must be just rotating it between the two, I assume. Interesting.
It is. Right, well, Martinez is back on his feet. He's going to have to come off the field temporarily. Martial is leaving. We're going to see a double change because it's Harry Maguire who's stepping forward. Well, I'm not sure whether we expected that. And Martinez is injured. So it's Harry Maguire who is ironically being cheered onto the field by the Arsenal fans. And Martinez is not able to continue. So it's the old firm for Manchester United of Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof back together. The old team back together in central defence, and for the first time this season, Harry Maguire named again in the England squad this week. He gets onto the field for the first time this season for Manchester United.
He's got to head one clear here as well, because another corner straight away to defend for Manchester United.
So Rasmus Højlund is on for his Manchester United debut, the new Manchester United number 11. But first, they'll have to defend this corner, which is taken short and comes out to Martinelli. A right foot shot is narrowly wide of the right post as he looked at it. Onana diving down to his left, full length, but it curled, it bent back in, but it bent just wide.
Yeah, from this angle, bums are off seats in front of me here. That is close. It's probably half a foot wide. Lovely work, really intentional free kick with Martinelli, just pulling out onto the edge of the box, and as it comes across, he just curls it first time with his right foot, just shy of that near post.
And a yellow card for Onana for delaying the taking of the goal kick. So another yellow card for Manchester United for the goalkeeper for time wasting. just been shown George, our producer, George Cummins, has just shown us a still of the penalty incident where, you know, it very much does look as though it was Martinelli, wasn't it, who was being sandwiched by Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka. Havertz, beg your pardon.
Yeah, it was,
but yeah, a still is always going to look like that, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you can interpret things differently. The point that you made perfectly, John, was that it wasn't a clear and obvious error, and it shouldn't have then been involved in that sense, VAR. I feel, you know, you can see the penalty and call it either which way, but it's not a clear and obvious error.
No, and we were told pre-season that was going to be a directive about the clear and obvious being all important.
And you want the on-field referee to feel it, to see it, to, you know what I mean? They're there. It's their call. They're refereeing the game. And I think for that to be overturned, it then takes it away from what his gut feeling was. And that gut feeling could have gone either way. It was one of those kind of decisions, wasn't it? But it certainly looked a penalty, and the more I see it, it's not an error to have awarded it as a penalty.
606 on 5 Live to talk about it. 08085 909 693 if you've seen it. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will have, I guarantee you. Here's Martinelli, back to Zinchenko, little ball into the penalty area. Havertz, then Martinelli curls it in over everyone, and it bounces beyond the far post for a goal kick. So it remains Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Commentary on the internationals over the course of the coming week, whether they're friendlies or whether they're European qualifiers. You'll hear Ukraine, England live from Poland. You'll hear Scotland, England on the following Tuesday live from Hampden. Here's Rasmus Højlund into the action for the first time, but tangling with Gabriel. Comes back for Manchester United. Gabriel quickly to his feet to curl it. Martinelli can't keep it in, and it's a throw in to Manchester United near the halfway line. With Harry Maguire coming on, that rather took away from the fact that this tall, blonde-haired 20-year-old Rasmus Højlund has slipped onto the pitch for his Manchester United debut.
He has, and he's if he scraps like that for every ball for Manchester United, he'll do okay.
Here he is, vividly blonde, throw in. He's up against Gabriel, he turns him, and Gabriel manages to get his body in the way of the young Dane, but he's sent sprawling, and that's a free kick to Arsenal inside their own penalty area. So yes, 20 years old, big fee, something between 64 and 72 million pounds. One season at Atalanta, where he scored 10 goals last season in 34 appearances, and this is only his 88th senior club appearance of his career. So there's a lot loaded on this young man, who has long been tipped for great things. Here is Rashford now receiving it with his back to goal, but turns 30 yards out and then gives the pass out to the left hand side. Bruno Fernandes is onto this now. 20 minutes to play, it's still 1-1. Ball chested down by Dalot, comes back to Wan-Bissaka. Manchester United attacking just outside the Arsenal penalty area. It's all rather one-paced. Eriksen curls a high ball in, that's beyond the back post, but Rashford is able to retain possession for Manchester United, takes on White, beats him, pulls it back, Højlund's in there, it's a right scramble, and Arsenal, as the ball comes out, are able to clear it away through Declan Rice towards the halfway line, and Harry Maguire is able to hoist it down the right hand side. Anthony up against Zinchenko wins the throw-in for Manchester United.
That was rather nifty footwork, wasn't it? Marcus Rashford, little flip-flap there. I don't know if there's a nutmeg involved as well, but that was super fast footwork from him to get himself all the way round to just about where the 6-yard box line meets the goal line. He was that close to the near post and very nearly sets up a goal. Just a bit of a scramble in the end, but lovely play from Rashford.
I always enjoy it. Matthew Upson flip-flap.
You like the flip-flop?
Flip-flap, yeah, I do. Yeah. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. And Onana with the ball at his feet on the edge of the visiting penalty area, passes it to Wan-Bissaka. It goes towards Højlund. I've got him down as 6'3", but he doesn't look quite as tall as that to me.
No, he doesn't.
Rice passes it in field away from Bruno Fernandes, who looks to the heavens as Declan Rice sets Arsenal away again. Down the right hand side, here is Bukayo Saka. He's scored in his last 3 appearances for Arsenal against Manchester United, but not yet today. Rice forward to Saka in a central position. Go on, shout the Arsenal fans as Havertz gets it on the left wing, leaves it to Martinelli. Here's Declan Rice, just takes one touch, second touch infield towards Zinchenko. Back to Declan Rice again, and then a 1-2 with Nketiah. Rice then couldn't find the pass through, and it's played by Anthony into Rice to win a throw-in for Manchester United.
He's actually shown a bit of defensive responsibility in this game, Anthony, hasn't he? I think that side of his game certainly has got better.
Did you see there? Well, after putting in that challenge, which was very good by Anthony, he got up, Casemiro came across, gave him a fist bump and then kicked him up the backside. Here's Fernandes to Rashford at pace into the penalty area, shoots from the angle. That was a real toe poke effort, and it took a touch off White and behind for a corner. And the Manchester United fans in that lower section over there, you'll know it if you've been to the Emirates as a visiting fan, they're all on their feet, waving their arms, cheering on Manchester United and Rashford.
Yeah, he just tried to improvise a little bit there. He knew he wasn't going to have enough time to really get a proper shot off, so he just tries to toe poke it, deflects it out for a corner off an Arsenal defender.
Corner then, Manchester United. Fernandes into the near post. That's easily headed away at the near post. However, it's come out to Anthony, who shoots into the crowded penalty area where it is blocked, and Arsenal play it away. 15 minutes to go here at the Emirates. 5 Live in the World Service from BBC Radio. Anthony steps in to win the ball back ahead of Martinelli. Anthony, remember him scoring at Old Trafford against Arsenal on his debut last season, and a very good goal it was as well, introducing himself to the Premier League. Manchester United go back to Harry Maguire, still the Manchester United number 5. Could have been a West Ham player. Remember, the deal was agreed, but Harry Maguire said he was happy to stay and fight for his place. And Arsenal are going to make a triple change. Gabriel Jesus is coming on, certainly one of them, as Arsenal have it at the back with Zinchenko and then Martinelli, and Arsenal playing themselves up to the halfway line. Havertz slips it forward but into the heels of Anthony, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal near the halfway line. So Gabriel Jesus is coming on, Tomiyasu as well, and
Vieira, I think,
and Fabio Vieira. So it's a triple change,
turning into a bit of a super sub for Arsenal. John, nobody wants that label, but he's been outstanding off the bench of late, certainly against Fulham. Goal and an assist, and 2 assists. He was excellent off the bench against Fulham.
So Gabriel Jesus for Eddie Nketiah, who has not been able to continue his run of scoring at home here. So Zinchenko is off. As I say, they're nursing him back to full fitness. And Kai Havertz is the other man to come off. I think unfortunate not to have won a penalty for Arsenal, Kai Havertz today, with actually a very nice piece of skill as well that drew the challenges.
Yeah, and more the point, he got in the right position, John. You know, that's what Mikel Arteta wants from him. He wants to be in those advanced roles on the edge of the box. Certainly if the Nketiah or the centre forward's dropping a bit deeper, he'll then stretch that pitch, and he picked up a great position. As I mentioned, Vieira has been really good coming on off the bench, had a lot of impact on the games, and I'm sure they'll be hoping for a bit of impact from him today.
Yep, the 3rd match this season he's come on as a substitute. The number 21, Vieira, the familiar song. So he's on the field, but Manchester United are on the ball with Rashford inside the penalty area, having already scored the opening goal in this match. But this time the ball gets away from him and actually runs through to his England colleague Aaron Ramsdale. Rashford, who scored 3 goals in the 2 matches against Arsenal last season, and has continued that with what was a very good goal actually. Both goals were good goals, well finished by Arsenal, and Odegaard at the other end just less than 2 minutes later. Here is Odegaard to the right hand side. 1-1 is still the score. Odegaard now receives it back from Saka. Saka into the area. Diogo Dalot with the challenge, but Saka goes down. There's not a chance of that being given as a penalty. And Dalot's able to clear towards the halfway line, where it's taken down and lost actually by Saliba, and it's played forward by Eriksen. And now Manchester United are on the move. Rashford on the left, Højlund through the middle, Anthony as well. It is still Rashford keeping the ball, shooting goalwards, and the deflection took all of the power off the ball, and Ramsdale was able to come forward, blue shirt flapping, and grab the ball.
You know, Gabriel does really well there. sees the danger, gets himself in a good position, tries to isolate Marcus Rashford over on that left-hand side. There's plenty of space for him to really get faced up, but he just takes a great angle of approach, slows him down, gives time for the Arsenal players to get back in position and smother out that counter-attack. It was a poor touch from Saliba in that middle of the park. It just shows you that, I mean, that the first goal came from a similar scenario with a poor pass from Havertz, and Manchester United really capitalising on that. It was a similar scenario, but Gabriel did very well there.
That's Matthew Upson. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. So Gabriel Jesus on the field, just his second appearance of the season. He had a knee problem pre-season, had a little operation, but he's okay. He's not in the Brazil squad, incidentally, having had relatively little action since the start of the World Cup qualifiers. I noticed that Argentina are going to La Paz in the next week or so to play at altitude in Bolivia. So Lisandro Martinez and Alejandro Garnacho, who's on the bench for Manchester United, will be off to the famous Bolivian capital, and the ball's out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal. In fact, a throw-in for Arsenal over on the right-hand side, 10 yards inside Manchester United territory. We've got 10 minutes to go. 6:06 will follow shortly afterwards on 5 Live to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. So 08085 909 693 to join in the conversation. Tell them what you felt about the Arsenal penalty that wasn't. Arsenal with it on the right hand side. Gabriel Jesus weaving his way into the box and towards the dead ball line, keeps the ball in play, turns it back to the right hand side. Here's the cross, but it's over Wan-Bissaka, who allows it to bounce and is able to volley it away to Anthony, who might have been fouled by Tomiyasu. No, he wasn't. Play continues, and then it's given back by Vieira to Martinelli. Back to Vieira with his number 21 on the back of his shirt, passes it forward to Tomiyasu on the left hand side. Tomiyasu thought about the cross, but with his right foot gives it back to Vieira. He puts his foot on it, then gives it back to Tomiyasu, and then it's back to Vieira again. So Arsenal supporters say, come on, get it in the box. Tomiyasu, little ball towards Saka, he slips it forward nicely, and then Martinelli couldn't angle it back to him because Bruno Fernandes was there, who volleys it high away towards the halfway line. Just feels like it's lacking that bit of zip, but Martinelli provides that bit of zip there. Lovely footwork, then to the edge of the box to Jesus. Odegaard to the right hand side, ball swept right across. Saka with a chance, shoots straight at Onana, who went down on one knee and blocked it with his body. Big chance for Saka, not taken. It stays 1-1. Saka was 8 yards out, if that.
What a chance. Bukayo Saka, he won't get a better chance to win this football match potentially. Great play from Martinelli, skipping through bodies, work it wide. It's a first time cross, side-footed, just fizzed across. Just go and get on the end of that, and Saka's in an ideal position. Credit to Onana. Did he get his knee down, John? Can I put that knee down?
It's like
didn't
a
he,
long barrier, wasn't it?
Yeah. I have to credit that as a good save at close range, but Saka should be burying that.
He should. Arsenal 1, Manchester United what he normally would.
He would, yeah. He's been quite quiet in this second half, hasn't he? Not had much of the ball.
Eric Ten Hag is signalling that he might be about to, looks as though it might be Johnny Evans making his official comeback. And that's the thing I was going to say to you, Matt. If Manchester United, if Eric Ten Hag had to make a change in central defence, which he did when Martinez picked up the knock, if Johnny Evans had come on then instead of Harry Maguire, then I mean that really would have, it kind of had to be Maguire, didn't it?
Could have been a bit of a crushing blow, couldn't it?
You know, for a man in his squad, it had to be Maguire.
No, I agree.
And here is Maguire at the back, turns and plays it forward, and the ball bounces for Arsenal. Anthony is saying, come on, I need better than that.
Well, in fairness to Maguire, I'm not too sure what he's supposed to do with that ball. It's going back towards the corner of the pitch. He's not got too much option other than to whip that one up the line. If he tries to do some elaborate twirl on the ball, John, and get caught on it, everyone will be asking questions why he just didn't stick it down the line. So I don't think that's a bad choice from him there.
Just a little point with England as well. The other defenders, central defenders in the England squad, are all left-sided defenders for their clubs in central defence. Harry Maguire here is playing right-sided with Lindelof on his left, showing that he can play on either side, and it may well be that's where he'll play for England in the absence of Stones, but we'll see about that next weekend. Here's Zinchenko, 10 yards inside his own half. I have to confess, sitting here watching this game, this does have the feel that it will finish 1-1, but we'll see. Agree or disagree?
I feel there's a winner in this.
Do you now?
John, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. It's
not often you and I violently disagree, is it?
It's been a cagey second half, isn't it? Not a lot of.
Well, Arsenal should have had a penalty. I think sitting here as a neutral, that would be my call on that. Garnacho, before he goes off to La Paz, will come onto the field at the Emirates, and that is it for Anthony. Not the most popular among the Arsenal supporters, so he will leave the field, and so will Victor Lindelof. So Evans and Maguire, the Manchester United central defensive pairing. I suddenly feel like I'm back in my 40s. So welcome back, Johnny Evans, number 35, at the age of 35, making his first appearance for Manchester United since 2015.
Wow.
Where are we now? 2023. That's a big gap.
Maguire and Evans, centre-backs, huh?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought it, would you?
No.
Just looking at that replay of...
That's the power of love.
Just look at the replay of Saka's chance, John. That was a good chance.
Not taken. Arsenal coming forward. Ball in from the right-hand side. Saka's after this. Bounces away. Cross from White, who's got a lot on that. He's pumped it right across the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka did well to get a touch on that and not put it out for a corner. However, ball still in play with Martinelli. Takes on Wan-Bissaka. Challenges for it right at the point where the penalty area meets the dead ball line and tackles it out successfully for a corner.
I think when I go to sleep tonight, I'm just going to hear your voice going, Wan-Bissaka
against Martinelli.
Yeah, corner. Tackle from Wan-Bissaka.
Well, if anything, I'll send you off to sleep. Here's a corner then for Martinelli. Arsenal have had, well, they had 8 in the first half. I think it's just their second of the second half. Feels like more. Most have been taken by Martinelli. This corner taken by Martinelli. And it's really poor. And it's easily cleared away at the near post by Bruno Fernandes. 5 minutes to go. Matthew Upson is certain that there will be another goal in this match. Yeah. So we'll find out, won't we?
There's a restlessness in the Emirates at the moment. I think they're willing for more. They can see that a win here would just be such a massive result for Arsenal at the moment, given that point last weekend against Fulham. And it's a game that I think they feel they're good enough to beat Manchester United at the moment.
Ball in the centre circle with Saliba. Now it goes out to Saka. Saka against Dalot. Little ball infield towards Odegaard. Tried to give it back to Saka inside the penalty area, but Dalot went with him. And Johnny Evans is there for his first touch to clear it away. Relegated with Leicester City last season, and now here he is, involved with his old club in the Champions League this season, if he's on the squad list. Ball up to the edge of the area, but Casemiro just steps in and Casemiro passes it. Here's Højlund racing onto this, away from Gabriel, right corner of the box, into the area now, tries to cut onto his left foot. Gabriel went with him and Saliba came across to actually make sure he got the ball, and Rasmus Højlund ended up in a heap, and Erik ten Hag is suggesting that he might have a case for a penalty there.
No.
I think that could be optimistic in the grand scheme of what's happened here this afternoon.
He's within his rights there, Gabriel, to use his body to just block that path and get his body across the route where Højlund wanted to go. I mean, he did so well to get to the ball. He showed he's got a little bit of pace in the channel, hasn't he? Just got the wrong side of Gabriel for a split second, but the moment he faced him up and wanted to come inside onto his left foot, Gabriel just blocked off that route with his big frame, leant on him. They had a bit of a clumsy collision, but I think he was well within his rights just to do that as a defensive play.
We're in the 88th minute. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. 5 Live in the World Service. Rugby Union World Cup begins on Friday. Lots of build-up this week, and every match on 5 Live, Sports Extra, or on the BBC online. You won't be able to miss it. Eriksen playing the ball forward into the centre circle. Nice little flick from Højlund. Then forward from Casemiro. I think he might be offside here. The ball's been tucked away. Garnacho threaded it in, and Manchester United celebrate. And we'll have to see if he was onside or not. Arsenal are fuming about this. Manchester United celebrating. They think they've gone 2-1 up. And a lovely threaded finish from Garnacho, who was sent away. And referee Taylor is saying to Arsenal, let's see what VAR have to say about this. But Manchester United celebrate for the time being at least.
I mean, I think somebody's had a yellow card for Arsenal as well in terms of protesting, but my first gut was offside.
My feeling was certainly offside.
Yeah.
Right, let's see.
And we're not bang level here, John, but we're not miles off, are we?
No, we're waiting for the pictures now. Yeah, this might surprise us. I've seen this happen before, and we're looking now at the pictures, and Garnacho could be onside. He could well be onside.
Yeah.
So it depends where the lines are drawn. We've just seen a still of it from a high camera, and we're now seeing another picture that does make it look as though when the ball was slipped forward through to him, that Garnacho was just being played online. The lines are now being it's offside. It's offside. And the goal does not stand. Well, the people here know, because we've just said it, and there is the official decision, and the goal is ruled out, and that was a heck of a tight one.
Well,
and the Arsenal fans are still angry.
The freeze frame just shows you Gabriel. It was almost, like as if you stood on the edge of something and you're going to fall off. It was like in that pose, trying to hold his body from going backwards so he could play him offside, and it just worked. If he'd have probably just took a natural stride, hit the step, he would have played him onside, but he held it together, and it was probably an inch or so. I mean, we're talking fine margins, but take nothing away from the finish though. John, Garnacho coming on, clean through one-on-one, cool as you like, just slotted it, didn't he, in the corner, down to the left-hand side of Ramsdale. It was a lovely finish from Garnacho, 1v1.
So it is still Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1 after all that. And Manchester United with a free kick. Reece Nelson has come on to replace Martinelli, by the way. And strange one in that one Arsenal fan, 8 minutes of added time, 8 minutes still to play. One Arsenal fan down here, after seeing the Manchester United goal ruled out for offside by VAR, said, just to our left, he said, that's it, I've had it with VAR. And he's walked out. Yet
perhaps he was a
it
United
ruled
fan.
out. Maybe he was
brave.
He didn't look like it.
Perhaps he was brave.
Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. Lots to talk about with 606 on 5 Live with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. You can read all about it, football pages of the BBC Sport website, and then download the 5 Live Football Daily podcast in the morning. Subscribe for free from BBC Sounds. Neda Manua every Monday morning this season on it.
It's interesting, these screens here, isn't it, that give certain clusters of fans
the privilege of seeing the decisions and making them even more angry than they already are. Rice, long ball from him, but that's way beyond Saka, and Johnny Evans just hooks it back to Anana, who passes it out to Johnny Evans, and then forward it goes to Eriksen, who passes it back into central defence. Johnny Evans, if he is in that Champions League squad, Manchester United starting off in Munich against Bayern Munich, and Harry Kane, you'll hear that match on 5 live from Munich, as well as so many Champions League and European commentaries. Manchester United in that group of Copenhagen and Galatasaray. Maguire sliding this one forward out towards the left-hand side. Arsenal back in the Champions League as well this season. Garnacho hoping to get it back, but the ball was passed forward by Dalot, and it was blocked by Arsenal on the edge of the penalty area. And then it bounces for Højlund, but there was a foul on Odegaard, and it's a free kick to Arsenal halfway inside their own half. So 8 minutes being added on. We've already had 2 minutes, so 6 to go. But just the match it's been a bit of niggle. It's been scrappy often at times, and obviously controversy as well. And Mikel Arteta, you'll hear him hopefully live on 606. Mikel Arteta, the live interviews, Erik ten Hag as well, so stay with us for that. But a free kick to Arsenal again, halfway inside their own half. It's played across to Saliba, and now Gabriel forward towards Tomiyasu, inside Manchester United territory. Back it goes. Gabriel puts his foot on the ball, takes a couple of big strides into Manchester United territory, and then finds the pass down the left towards Vieira, who just keeps it in. Vieira cuts back onto his right foot. Arsenal fans in front of us just get to their feet, so we have to do that the same. Then it comes back to Gabriel, and now Vieira again, little ball in. Nelson is there, Reece Nelson. Back to Gabriel again, square from him. Declan Rice, Manchester United now, everyone back behind the ball as Rice steers it towards the right hand side. Saka is there, coming in from the right hand side. Once again Declan Rice out to the far side, where Arsenal then come back centrally towards Saliba. Odegaard towards Saka again. Lots of Arsenal possession. Saka rides one challenge, but then there's another challenge from Bruno Fernandes. Saka keeps it low, plays it out to the left hand side. Nelson's onto this. Nelson then pulls it back to the edge of the area, took a deflection. Tomiyasu slides in on that and catches Bruno Fernandes, who goes down rather theatrically. He's made a lot of that, but he was caught by the Arsenal defender, but no free kick was given, and Nelson comes forward again. Ball back towards the edge of the penalty area. It bounces off Evans, bounces for Arsenal. Tomiyasu back to Nelson again, but Nelson's heavy touch means that Wan-Bissaka was able to step in and put it out for a throw.
Yeah, just not quite delivering the quality into the box. Arsenal getting into these little areas on the outside of the 18-yard box, but A, there's not too much in the box, and B, just the quality of delivery, finding that little pass or the 1-2 link up just isn't quite there for them at the moment.
With a ball to the edge of the area, Arsenal still gently asking the questions. Needs to be more urgent than that now. Tomiyasu and Gabriel, left-footed cross from Gabriel, the central defender. That's headed away near the edge of the penalty area by Dalot for Manchester United. Still 1-1 the score. Declan Rice now running the ball forward and to the left. Tomiyasu back centrally again. We're in the 5th minute of added time, so still 3 minutes to go. The score locked at 1-1, and Arsenal in possession on the right hand side. It's lifted forward by White into the penalty area, bounces out to Gabriel Jesus, who's in the full-back position, cuts back onto his left foot, then back onto his right, and then gives it to Odegaard, who tries the shot from the angle, which actually took a flick off a Manchester United man as it flew across goal and high, and it is a corner for Arsenal from the right. Deep in added time. Under Mikel Arteta, they've had some very notable, very late goals in matches here at the Emirates. It's not that rare. Saka waiting to take this. Saka just moves from foot to foot off the pitch, and then little steps from Bukayo Saka, a high one towards the back post, which is chested down by Declan Rice and driven in by a deflection. It beats Onana, diving down to the foot of his post, and Arsenal have done it, and it's Declan Rice, the record signing, with his first goal for Arsenal to win the match against Manchester United. That's the way to do it. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1.
Wow, late drama here at the Emirates, and not for the first time. Another corner, John. It was going to take its toll eventually, surely, the amount of corners that Arsenal have had in this game. It was a deep delivery from Saka into that back post area, and from then on it was relatively simple. Declan Rice backpedaling off that back post. For me, the setup of the chest, he takes it on his chest, was a brilliant touch, because it just allowed him to get a clean strike on the ball. He drifts into that area unopposed, and it's a half volley strike into the near post. Onana's going to be a little bit disappointed, I will say. There's not that many bodies to go through. A little bit of a deflection.
Evans? Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
Touch. That took it into the bottom corner to the right of Onana.
Yep.
And
squirms underneath him, doesn't it, in that near post area.
And Anthony Taylor is walking across to this side of the field. The goal stands, don't worry about that. But I think somebody's going to be yellow carded. One of the Arsenal coaching staff has been yellow carded. I can't quite work that out. I mean, Arsenal have just scored the goal to win the game.
Yeah.
And Declan Rice, what a moment for him. Declan Rice scoring that goal in the 7th minute of added time to win a match against Manchester United. I mean, that is fairy tale stuff.
Yeah.
For a young boy who dreamed of playing the sport, who becomes a £105 million player, and now Arsenal are delaying the taking of a throw-in, so another yellow card's been shown. I I think that is for Jorginho, I think he's been booked, and he hasn't even got on the field yet. It's either him or Odegaard. Odegaard's delaying. Odegaard's leaving us the field.
What Jorginho's done wrong there, he's waiting to go on.
It's Odegaard who's been booked.
But not that Declan Rice needed that goal to be warmed into the hearts of the Arsenal supporters, because he's just been excellent since he's been here. But it doesn't half help to score a winner at home against Manchester United in the 7th minute of injury time, John.
That is quite a script. And the score, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1. The Arsenal fans feeling that justice has been done after that penalty was overturned, that Kai Havertz thought that he'd got for Arsenal. For a little while, it seemed that Manchester United might be in front when Garnacho put the ball in the net, but that was ruled out for offside, rightly, although it was very, very tight. And now Declan Rice, with the aid of a little deflection off Johnny Evans, and Nana got a hand to it as well, down at the foot of his right post, but couldn't keep it out. And a great celebration from Declan Rice, running away. He was mad, actually. He slid on his knees. There was a camera crew I don't know whether you spotted that. There's a camera crew following him on the pitch in the aftermath of the goal. I don't know what they were doing on there. I mean, that's not right.
Documentary, John.
Fly on the wall, fly on the pitch. And it's a throw-in for Manchester United now. Well, this really would be dramatic if Højlund were to score to make it 2-2 on his debut for Manchester United. Ball into the area, it's cleared away, bounces out. We're now in the 10th minute of added time. I mean, at least 2 minutes will have had to be added on for the celebration.
It did feel like there was going to be a winner though, John, didn't it?
Long ball to the edge of the area for Arsenal. That's cleared away. That looked like a handball by Jesus on the halfway line. It was. So Manchester United now, it's desperation stakes. Harry Maguire's been told to stay forward. So Harry Maguire up front with Højlund. Last seconds of the match here at the Emirates. Eriksen curls it forward. That's headed up and away by Saliba. It comes out. Rashford put the challenge in, but it bounced away, and Vieira plays it through the middle for Jesus. And Jesus, Dalot trying to catch him. He beats Dalot, and he puts it in the net for 3-1 to Arsenal. What a finish! They're dancing in the stands at the Emirates. Arsenal players running in all directions. Super finish from Gabriel Jesus to wrap up the points, to win the match, to beat Manchester United. 3-1 now.
Well, that penalty decision that didn't go Arsenal's way is long forgotten at the Emirates at the moment. I mean, it is bouncing, absolutely bouncing with the supporters. They are thoroughly enjoying this. It's just a breakaway goal. The Man United throwing everything forwards. It's really well done by Vieira again, John, who's coming off the bench, and an assist from him to find the pass into Jesus, but he coolly allows Darlow, who's running full tilt to try and get the block. He just allows him to slide right by him as he just chops inside into his right foot and then strokes it home into the far corner.
I think he scored in the 12th minute of added time.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I think you're probably
Just
right.
wait for confirmation of that.
Maybe the 11th.
The goals in the 7th, and I think the 12th minute of added
so
time.
We've had 4 minutes of injury time in injury time.
Amazing scenes, really. The Manchester United supporters now are vacating the Emirates very, very quickly. We're now we're well into the 12th minute of added time. We're entering the 13th minute of added time, and it is Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1. And Wan-Bissaka, I think, was caught there. So it's the ball's just bounced out of play, or is it? No, it was a foul on Wan-Bissaka. So free kick to Manchester United. Manchester United play it forward, and they have it on the left-hand side into the penalty area, and it bounces down and is cleared away by Ben White inside his penalty area, and it bounces out of play, and the final whistle goes. What a dramatic finish at the Emirates. 2 goals deep in added time to win it for Mikel Arteta and for Arsenal, and to consign to Manchester United to another defeat in London. They've lost at Tottenham, now they've lost at Arsenal this season. What a finish. I'm not sure it necessarily matched the game that we saw, but 3-1 to Arsenal, Matthew Upson.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say about the end of this game? It was a bit of a dead second half, then all of a sudden it has come to life, and Declan Rice just making it happen with his finish. And then right at the death there, Manchester United fully committed going forwards, looking for an equaliser, leave themselves exposed for a counter-attacking goal of top quality finish from Jesus, who just drew the challenge from Darlow. But I mean, an eventful game, and in a game I feel Arsenal needed to win. They needed this win, John, just to keep them going in that hunt for feeling they're going to be mixing it with Manchester City in this title race this season.
Yeah, the third season running that Arsenal have won at home against Manchester United in the Premier League. So that's 3 wins out of 4 for Arsenal, everything looking good. They've joined that group on 10 points, just off Manchester City. But for Manchester United, you know, this patchy start to the season continues for them.
I really feel that it was a very average performance from them in terms of what they're trying to do going forwards. Defensively, they've obviously got injury troubles, Martinez coming off, but the season hasn't started that well performance-wise, even though the points were okay beforehand, and the performance today probably wasn't at the level that they'd be hoping for.
So there we are. Arsenal winning it with goals from Odegaard, who equalised the opening goal from Rashford. Manchester United were ahead in the match, but the goals timed by the Premier League. Declan Rice, his first for Arsenal in the 6th minute of added time, and Gabriel Jesus finishing it off with his goal in the 11th minute of added time, and it's finished. Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1.
John, Matt, thank you very much indeed. Rice, baby, over the PA is a little bit on the nose. Manchester United fans, can you take this on the chin? 08085 909 693. So much to talk about from this game alone on 606 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Get your calls in right now. They are just a couple of minutes away. Let's take you to Flushing Meadows as well. Don't forget the US Open action continuing with commentaries on 5 Sports Extra. So much success at the minute within American tennis. And David Law, you're watching 2 of them go toe-to-toe on Arthur Ashe.
And one of the most exciting young ones, 20-year-old Ben Shelton, looks like he might be about to upset Tommy Paul, the 14th seed, 6-4 and 4-3 with a break of serve for him. We've got Karolina Muchova, the 10th seed, coming through at the moment, it looks like, against Wang Jinyu. We've got Coco Gauff still to come against Caroline Wozniacki, and then Novak Djokovic and Iga Swiatek in the evening session.
More American joy at the Walker Cup. Ian Carter.
Yes, they've won it 14.5 points to 11.5, coming from behind on this final day, winning 6 of the 10 singles, just 2 GB&I successes this afternoon. Jack Bigham and Mark Power posting wins. Too little, too late from both of those, and so the trophy is retained in emphatic style by the Americans. They've won by 3 points.
Ian, thank you very much indeed. The fans are still going absolutely wild at the Emirates, and well, it's no surprise, is it? Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1. 08085 909 693. That is the number to call to speak to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. 606 follows the news on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Just got to stop you there, Ian, because your manager, Erik ten Hag, is with George Cummins.
Thanks, Robbie. Eric's with us now. Eric, just sum up your reflections on that performance, please.
I think very good performance for Manchester United. We deserve to win, but you don't always get what you deserve. And today was a day, was a lot against us. So we have to accept this, but we are pleased with the performance we gave.
When you mean there's a lot against you, what are you referring to in particular?
Well, I think everyone has seen the decisions who have been made. I think a lot of them were debatable and they were not on our side.
In terms of the performance, your start to the season, you've had 2 defeats now. How do you assess this overall and how your team's playing?
We're progressing. It's definitely big progress in our performance, and so we have to keep this going. This is the way we have to play, and if we can bring that, I'm sure we can be successful. We have a good team, we have a good squad, and then if we keep working on our team performance, then we will be winning games.
Do you think that scoreline was very harsh on your team today then? You didn't deserve to lose 3-1?
No, but that's the score. You have to accept it, but also you have to see the performance. And if you see only the result, then you can criticize that. And we want to win, but I have to look to the performance, and the performance was absolutely a progress.
And in terms of Højlund made his debut, what did you make of that half hour he had?
I think he played very good. He came in and had huge impact on the game. It was really difficult to defend him. He had a lot of problems. Like I said, I thought it was penalty. He got pulled in the box, but also he was a target. He ran behind. He pressing. Although he doesn't know all the rules we have in our defending, but he did very good, and it's good to have him, and he will have an impact on our results.
And in terms of Arsenal's second goal, the Declan Rice one, what was your take on it? Because you were talking to the referee. Was you unhappy with anything in the run up to that goal?
I think it was clear and obvious. You can't miss that, and especially not anymore in that part of the game.
Are you talking about one of your defenders you feel I was fouled?
Johnny Evans got fouled, got pulled. He couldn't block, and maybe the ref can't see, but then at least the VAR should see this.
Thanks for joining us on 606. Thank you.
George Cummins is now with the winning manager, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, thanks, Robbie. I've actually just showed Mikel a picture of him celebrating. You absolutely loved that, Mikel, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm in the technical area. Look how disciplined I am. I haven't moved from my technical area.
That was fairy tale football, isn't it, at the end, winning like that?
Well, I think this clash is known in the history because it's been really emotional. A lot of goals, a lot of things happen, and today hasn't been different. I think we fully deserve to win the game, but the reality is that the margins against those top teams are really small, and it could have gone in a different way if the VAR doesn't overturn the offside goal.
Did you expect Declan Rice to score the 96-minute second goal? Well, great finish, wasn't it?
He is a goal threat, and I think, first of all, I think the performance was brilliant from him. I think he was really present, really dominant. I think he really grabbed the game by his hand and understood what it was needed. And then he produced a magic moment at the end when the team needed it, and that's what big players do in big matches.
What did you like so much about the performance today?
I think the willingness to win, and how much the team shows the determination to go again, regardless what happens, because we gave them the first goal. We talked about it. If you do lose the ball after 2 passes inside, when you are open, they are going to kill you. And they did it once, and in the second half they did it again, but the VAR overruled it. So we keep giving things away because the team deserves much more to win the game much more comfortably than we've done today.
It's not a coincidence, though. You've done this twice against Manchester United, haven't you, in recent seasons? That's not a coincidence, is it?
No, it's not. And it's great. But I think we play 4 games, and we deserve to win the 4 games, but the margins in the later stages of the game is still very small for the amount of things that the team is proposing and doing. And that's something that we have to improve.
And Kai Havertz, what was your take on the penalty?
Well, it's really, really difficult to assess it. I think there is minimal contact there. It's comparing with the penalty of last week against Forest. Then, yes, it's a pen. I think in general, the way the referees explained, it won't be a penalty. That's a reality, I think.
And I think we can joke about this now, but how was your journey to the Emirates today? No
today
M25?
I'm going to go by bike. That's my decision now.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you.